as you said. Brendan Favola, been a lot talked about him all year.
Roberts-Thompson with the first go at Brendan Favola, and at the other end, Daniel Bradshaw has got old teammate Joel Patfull on him.
We are underway here at the SCG. CB straight down, Jack with the clearance, kicks the half forward, off the hands of They can't get a kick away. Jude Bolton picks it up, runs through traffic. McVeigh does get onto it.
Bolton's land very heavily, hasn't moved.
Yep, dragged down. McGrath tries to spin through a tackle. Hard to do that with Brett Kirk's tackles. Malcheski, he gets the kick, but it's a little wide.
Well, both players are up on their feet, which is pleasing. Bolton the slower of the two, but Maguire wasn't much better.
Oh, clash of heads. Heads
boy.
have smashed together on that occasion, so both players are going to be very, very shaky. You see Bolton have been assisted from the ground.
He doesn't necessarily know he's on the ground.
No.
Troy Selwood, the late inclusion's got a big job too on Jared McVeigh.
Rains, back pocket. Forward to play on. It's about to kick to where Jude Bolton is. Bouncing ball. Power keeps it in. Travis Johnston, the 200 gamer. Little tap on. Riscatelli. Short. Thumped away by Kennedy. Richards back into the team. Dragged down by Banfield. Rich. Kick half smothered. Rolls it towards half forward. Favola, Lewis Roberts-Thompson. Favola keeps it alive. Brown slips inside, missed Rains. Good opportunity that. Leuenberger attacks it. Goods attacked him. Polkinghorn. Riscatelli on attacking 50. McVeigh again. Handball smothered. Black, short pass. Brown. That'll do.
He's the master of that kick, Simon Black. It's just a little chip kick. It doesn't have to be a dart. He doesn't have to drill it. He just pops it into that little space at the forward. Only the forward can get his hands to. And it doesn't matter that he's got a defender right on him. Jonathan Brown just has to take a couple of steps forward, and nothing Heath Grundy can do about it. Great start for Black, continuing on from his form last week. And wouldn't the Lions love to see this man get a confidence booster early after looking in apparent difficulties, shall we say, last week physically, Dwayne?
You should be able to tell by the way he kicks through the ball. If you saw, he certainly doesn't kick through it.
Just an 8-possession, 1-goal week last week. He poked at it a little, but he gets the full half dozen.
A very good start for the Brisbane Lions. The forward 50 entry at the other end to the Sydney Swans, and a big clash between Jude Bolton and Matt Maguire. But we'll see how those guys are going shortly. But expect that both are concussed. But some very handy work from Simon Black. As we know, around the stoppages where there's a lot of congestion, he gets his hand on the ball so well and delivers so well. And that was a great start for Jonathan Brown to be on the end of some great Black work.
Wasn't a giant follow through, was it, with the kick?
No, he's punched that one through. It's so School's still out as far as how good he is feeling. He assures me though that he is feeling good around that lower stomach region. He just for some reason didn't have the power last week that you expect from Jonathan Brown.
Massive job for young Austin as well. Lynch, he's got the job on Ryan O'Keefe.
CB out of the ruck already for Sydney. Mumford now in against Leuenberger. O'Keefe going nowhere. Rowan Smith downstairs.
Dwayne, you just mentioned Mark Seavey actually rolled his ankle. There's a bit of action down here, so he's rolled his left ankle, so he's having that restrapped at the moment. Jude Bolton's actually talking to the doctor, so he looks okay, and Matt Maguire's having his head strapped to that cut.
That was Austin you were talking about, the number 8 for Brisbane, giving it short. Staker hits it wide. Good opportunity this. Selwood, the late inclusion. Poor kick. Jonathan Brown tried to make it look okay. Banfield, props, shorts, and Polkinghorn takes the mark about 48 out.
Well, it's interesting, when that ball was coming down, Lynch, you had Lewis Roberts-Thompson on Jonathan Brown and Heath Grundy back on Favola. So I suspect whoever's deepest, they're just going to try and mix and match as they go, and whoever's in the best position to take either, it's not going to bother them one way or the other which matchup they go with.
No, they certainly want to hold their structure by the look of it, the Sydney Swans. Some nice work from young Banfield, exciting player over the first month of football.
Hasn't kicked the goal this year, Polkinghorn. Starts that right. It should feed back and doesn't quite feed back enough. Behind.
Mentioned young Austin on O'Keefe. One thing you can be sure of, he's going to see a fair bit of the SCG tonight.
To cover some miles, isn't he? I like the matchup too down back. They've got Josh Drummond up against Jesse White. Now Jesse White's got to be very careful that when the ball hits the deck, he's got to find a defensive side to his game, because Patfull will springboard defence into attack for the Lions.
Well, that's where that contest could go one way or the other. I'm sure Jesse White will be trying to get Josh Drummond back to the goal square.
More slick movement through the middle.
They've broken the zone here.
Kennedy gives to Jack. They have. Long bomb. Goods and Bradshaw both there. Goods punched away from him though. Might be first onto it. Getting back Austin just brilliantly there.
Well done. That's his second free kick he's managed to get. That one was for high contact. Interesting matchup. Brent Staker has been very good for the Brisbane Lions across half forward. He's the third leading forward. The umpire will bring it back now, but he looks like he's got the run with role with Adam Goods. So there's the high contact just over that left shoulder. So well done for young Matty Austin, but big job for Staker on Goods.
We know Matt Austin is tough. I don't know if it's a pre-game ritual, but pulled his mouth guard from the front of his underpants pre-game and whacked it straight in his mouth.
Oh dear.
Haven't seen that done for quite a while. Towards the wing, Rich.
Good not to see it again, Dwayne, too.
No.
Since your old Port Adelaide days, Dwayne, I would suspect.
Ball in on the wing, and there is Mark Seavey getting some work on that ankle.
Well, we spoke about the ruck duels and how important they'd be. This would be a bad loss if he can't get out there and give support to Shane Mumford.
They've both been good, Seavey and Mumford through the start of the season, as is that man there, Matthew Leuenberger.
And Leuenberger might beat him here, although close to the boundary and taken out by Shaw. And it was essentially Eamon Buchanan, and the sale of Eamon Buchanan traded to Brisbane by Sydney for pick 28, which Sydney traded to get Shane Mumford. So Eamon Buchanan playing against his old club tonight, and Mumford's had a great start with his new club. And Buchanan gets a kick on cue. Inside 50. Ted Richards back into the team this week. O'Keefe long. Bradshaw flies back of the pack. Power peels onto it. He had Brennan one side and Staker the other. Elected to go Staker instead. Short and Clark. He got a couple of Brownlow votes when these two teams met round 22 here last year.
A couple of interesting matchups, Lynchy. Brett Kirk has gone to Simon Black, and you've got young Kieran Jack with a job on Jared Brennan. He's going to give away a lot of size there, isn't he?
Certainly will. Jared Brennan was quiet last week, but that was the first quiet game he's played for the year. He's been fantastic touch, but yeah, there'd be almost 8, 9, 10 centimetres difference in height.
Mitch Clark got it from Drummond.
You might find it here, no.
Gives it back. He's the delivery man. Shortish pass, and Polkinghorne has it at half-back. 7 plays 1. Cautious start.
Wouldn't you think, Lynchy, that Jared Brennan should go straight to the full forward, do you think, or not?
Well, that'll be something Michael Voss will look to use. I mean, he doesn't want to crowd up the forward 50 with Favola and Brown there, but certainly will be an option.
Selwood long. Grundy holding Jonathan Brown. And it was no secret from Paul Roos. He said early in the week that Grundy will get the job on Brown. Didn't mind letting the world know.
Gee, Eamon Buchanan crying out for advantage. He was running into an open goal, and wouldn't he have loved that against his former team?
Well, first game back, just see Grundy drag the left arm of Jonathan Brown. Just didn't allow Brown to have a free jump at the ball.
Now, the 50 here we think's closer to 45 than 50, don't we, Lynch?
Not anymore.
Well, a few years ago it used to be closer to 45. I think it's pretty close to 50 these days.
Big kick this for Jonathan Brown for his second. Gives it a roost.
Looks like 45.
Plenty of distance on it and sneaks it in. He's got 2.
Well, the most impressive thing about the Brisbane Lions start is the fact that that man there has got involved, and he's moving well. He's kicking through the ball, as he did on that occasion, having to kick the ball from about the 53-4 metres out, and some very good use of the ball. But Jonathan Brown and Brennan Favola have been isolated in the 50. Be important for the likes of Ted Richards and Malcheski to get in, be a third-up jumper. But on that occasion, it was a free kick against Grundy, and Jonathan Brown likes those ones.
2 goals already. Jonathan Brown, more than he kicked last week already, just the 1. Never kicked a big bag here at the SCG. This is his grassy knoll. Can't play well here, according to recent form, and yet 2 goals in the first 5 minutes to start tonight. Riscatelli gives it up. Brennan kicks forward. Here he goes again. Jonathan Brown up. Tried the chest mark, strangely enough. Off hands. Buchanan gave it up. They likewise. Banfield through traffic, got the arms free. Missed Favola with the handball attempt. Little tap by Shaw. Does well. Kept it in front. Boundary line, the sanctuary. Polkinghorne keeps it alive. Umpire says it will be a mark. Fifth attempt from Lewis Roberts Thompson, but he's caught and caught high. Swans fans appreciate a free. Down the boundary line, Goods. Another huge round of applause at the moment. Crowd starting to get involved. Adam Goods playing mostly up forward so far in this game. Smith.
Although when he pushes up the ground, Brent Staker lets him go.
Okay. Now Shaw.
Risky kick.
And is that a free
Should have
kick
been
to
a free
Jonathan
kick.
Brown? He virtually grabbed him by the shoulder. No strangeness in Jonathan Brown backing back with the flight. McVeigh. Short. Cut off. Redden takes the mark for the Brisbane Lions. Jonathan Brown up the field this time. Half back. Loops the handball to Luke Power. Open forward line. Favola half held it. Full forward. No free kick. Still not allowed to lead. He's looking at the umpire pleadingly. Polkinghorne looks up at Fev and says, "Come, will you?" And he does, and takes the mark.
That kick was sensational. Polkinghorne, he had a good look. He was looking for Bradshaw to lead to the open side, but Bradshaw came back to the narrow side, and it was a little around the corner kick. Now, this is great running back with the flight of the ball, and he actually gets the arm pulled. Probably should have been a free kick, but nevertheless, they've ended up with the footy in the kick to Favola, who it was that led to the near side from Polkinghorne, was absolutely first class. Another bloke that hasn't had the kicking boots on this year.
No, 17 goals, 16 for Brendan Favola, the Coleman medalist. And that's a wobbling shank. And there's no Brisbane Lions player back there. Luckily for Sydney, Kennelly short, Malcheski held up.
Well, I'm sure Vossi wouldn't be too impressed with the fact that there was no one from Brisbane on the line, but as you'd expect, Brendan Favola from 40 metres out, that's going 10 rows back, 99 times out of 100. But just didn't get that one.
Rich flies, sees it through hands, and a ball in.
Yep, I mean, we know it's a strange drop. Actually, his hand's a little bit further forward than normal, and must have just spun on the way down to the boot, didn't hit it cleanly, and spun about once over the next 40 metres.
Rich bangs it high and long. Banfield down there, Kennelly with him, and Kennelly content to see it out of play. 13 plays one.
You mentioned, Dwayno, that Jonathan Brown hasn't had any big numbers in the past as far as goals are concerned against Sydney. And that's probably because his nemesis, Craig Bolton, is out injured and with that Achilles injury. And I know they're good mates, but there's been a quiet smile just come over the face of Jonathan Brown last week when he saw Bolts out.
I think you're spot on there. Smile came over the face of Troy Selwood when he heard that Justin Sherman was out. He's the late inclusion. He gets a shot at goal here, Troy Selwood.
They're on song early, Brisbane. They've taken the crowd out of the game. They don't like it. They're getting the free kicks as well, Brisbane, mostly because they're first ball, but also because the pressure they're putting on the opposition has been first class. This will test him, this kick, though, right on the threshold distance-wise. He's having a look at options. Maybe, doesn't suggest a lot of confidence.
Maybe Vossi knew that it was his birthday today. Turns 26, so brought him into the side as a present, and he misses to the near side.
I think it's his brothers as well.
Yeah, that might be right, Alistair. How did you know that?
Don't know, not sure which one, but one of them. But yeah, no, he's been a very good player, playing some very good football in the AFL Queensland competition this year, and been pushing for a selection, so he'd be looking to grab his opportunity with both hands.
Ty Kennelly entrusted with the kick in. To himself, then to O'Keefe. Rich is with him, good fist. And they can start it all again with the ball at half forward, Brisbane Lions. Rowan Smith.
Well, Dwayne, bad news for the Sydney Swans. Mark Seavey sitting on the bench, actually icing his left ankle, so you think he'll take no further part in the game tonight, which will dent their ruck duels.
Absolutely. Just Mumford to do most of their ruck work now. We know they don't like to ruck Adam Goods. Mumford on cue gets a possession. Nick Malcheski long. Bradshaw one-on-one. Got it.
It's almost bread and butter for Daniel Bradshaw. He's a very strong man and underrated in those one-on-one competitions. Also, the kick was to his favourite side, so he had to just hold his ground, and Joel Patfull was in all sorts of strife as soon as that ball left the boot.
How good were the hands? I mean, not just strong hands, but they were quick hands as well.
222 games, 496 goals for the Brisbane Lions, and of course a couple of premierships. First game against them, his first goal against them.
And it's easy to see that Daniel Bradshaw was pretty happy to get that one through. And as his teammates were, they all got over to him and given him a pat on the back. A lot of nerves, I'm sure, for Brady going into this game against his old teammates. But look at Nick Malcheski, just beautiful work there. It was over the top of Patfull and to the favoured side of Bradshaw. Just using the hands, as you did, Jason, in your career. Just big fend off in the side and the chest, and easy mark and end, and great kick from 50.
We know why Joel Patfull's got the job on Bradshaw and not Goods. He actually admitted a year ago, Joel Patfull, that Adam Goods is his toughest opponent, and he doesn't have all that good a game against him normally.
I think a bit of banter going on between those two as well, Bradshaw and also Patfull.
Strange to see players admit those kind of things during their career. You tend to want to wait until after your career before you tell people who you can't play against. Jack, it's away from Rains. Kicks it to half forward, and it's a little too wide for everyone bar the boundary umpire. We'll get a ball in. Swans finally on the board. He had a little run, Mark Seaby. We'll find out from Rowan Smith shortly whether or not that run means he can come back on. You saw Paul Roos, who's down on the bench, virtually asking the question, are you going to be all right?
Dwayne, they've just taken the ice off, so they look like they're going to re-strap it, hopefully.
Okay. Brisbane Lions free kick in the meantime. Leuenberger's ball.
Well, as things sort themselves out, it now looks like Ryan O'Keefe and Jared Brennan are going head-to-head. Wouldn't that be a great match-up to see?
Leuenberger's ball again. Just the short, Riscatelli. Good crowd in here at the SCG. Black, top of the table battle. Both teams 4 wins and 1 loss. Swans win this, they're back on top of the AFL ladder. Brisbane win it, they're equal top with the Saints. Kick to half forward. Jonathan Brown looking ominous. Pokes it towards Favola. One grab. Lewis Roberts-Thompson had the second. Barreled straight through the legs of Kennelly. He got the free for a push though.
Finally, a free kick for Sydney, and listen to the crowd getting involved.
Woken up. The crowd getting involved there, and this is where Sydney have been so strong this year. They run off deep defensively with the likes of Kennelly, Malcheski, Shaw.
Jetta.
Pace of that man.
Absolutely, and that's why Ryan O'Keefe said, you get it. You're a little quicker than me. Takes on Travis Johnston, gives it up to Ryan O'Keefe. Sends it wide. In fact, that's way too wide for everybody. Bar the man will get the free, Brent Staker. Someone got the mark anyway.
Outside the line.
14 plays 7. 7-point lead to Brisbane. Drummond.
It's a man-on-man situation right across the field here. It's not the typical zone that you've seen for the most part of this season, but certainly Swans going man-on-man.
And off the ball, Matthew Leuenberger really trying to run Shane Mumford around.
Good mark from Rains. Had Jetta bearing down. Jetta starting on the bench tonight. Rains called to move it on. Jason Rose, old number 29. It's wide. Roberts-Thompson leaves his man Jonathan Brown. Tried to get it out, in fact. Throw. Okay. Brendan Favola tries to explain himself. Crowd giving Brendan the welcome. Jared McVeigh. He's sure. And now they peel, although it comes down the middle to Malcheski. Good move. Kennelly sends a long ball. Bradshaw, Patfull. Bradshaw.
It's a bit too strong at the moment, isn't he? The first couple of contests. It was interesting, after he kicked that first goal, he pumped the fist, and as he did it, Patfull pushed him and said, get away, don't start that rubbish. But 2 for 2 now. A couple of one-on-one contests. This time Bradshaw getting the best again.
You're right. It was good ball delivery through the corridor and the hands here. But once again, as you touched on, Bradshaw was very strong in the initial body contest and then the quick 2 yards to get away from his opponent.
Friend Jonathan Brown has 2 at the other end. Bradshaw now has 2 to the right of screen.
We thought it might be a shootout in one way, shape or form. Normally Fev's involved when there's a shootout, but this time it's Brown v Bradshaw, 2 apiece. They opened up the corridor beautifully. It looked like they're going to switch to the fat side, but they had a couple of numbers in the middle. Malcheski, he's got the job on Eamon Buchanan, and as Buchanan closed him down, he got the hand pass over to the running Ty Kennelly. A beautiful kick to Bradshaw, and his confidence is absolutely sky high at the moment.
perfect start, essentially, to this game. Not for Joel Patfull, but for the fans who like scoring footy.
There was another comment from Daniel Bradshaw to Joel Patfull as well then.
There's a bit going on there.
From the ball up, Mumford. Second effort, good. Scatelli just knocked his handball away. Now free kick, Ryan O'Keefe's ball. He sort of had it for a half a second and then didn't have it as he was tackled by Redden. Thought about going down the middle, not a lot to go to. Goes to Malcheski. Neil Armstrong of knee surgery, of course. One small step for him, but a big step for everybody else who has knee surgery in the future with the artificial fibre. Rains from the wing, sends it long. Redden's got a paddock here. Malcheski gets back. Can he get him? He did, and put him off the kick.
Great chase from Malcheski. Fantastic.
Absolute.
Put pressure on.
That's how good that knee is for the artificial fibre. Richards sends it wide. Bouncing ball. Rains had to wait for it. Still goes in to try and get it. More stole it from him. Shaw, he's away. Bradshaw got it again.
Well, he's second-guessing himself now, Joel Patfull. He played in front first up and he got held under the ball. The second time he was side by side and he got pushed off. He was too strong, and that time he played from behind, and just the quickness off the mark got Bradshaw there. There's the great chase by Malcheski. Missed Fev by a long way the kick, but he's not sure how to play Bradshaw now, Joel Patfull.
For his third. Plenty of carry. Swings back. It's there. Bradshaw has 3.
Outstanding start from Daniel Bradshaw, but it was the delivery of the ball into the forward 50 that made it near on impossible for Joel Patfull. You're right, Jace, he's second-guessing himself how to play against Daniel Bradshaw at the moment. He's very powerful off the lead. He gets the first 2 or 3 steps in, but this ball delivery, see, from Shaw in to Bradshaw, and he's fantastic on the lead. He's very quick, very strong, and he's an accurate kick. So he's going to be a massive factor in this game if he continues to get that sort of service.
3 goals to Bradshaw. Rowan Smith downstairs.
Well, Dwayne, Matt Maguire is still struggling from that initial head clash from Jude Bolton. He's been talking to the doctor. He's done a couple of run-throughs, but I'd still say they're seeing some stars, and they've actually they tried to restrap Mark Seaby's ankle, but they took it off, and now they're re-icing it, so they've probably put a line through his name for the night for Mark Seaby, Dwayne.
Well, it looks like Sydney definitely one short, and maybe Brisbane one short as well.
Malcheski, another possession to half forward. Hanbury had a good season. Hassled. Austin's with him, and hassled brilliantly. Austin kept his feet. Redden, half back. Crowd wanted a free, didn't get it. Low trajectory. Banfield couldn't grab it. Power does. Hacks it to half forward. Over the head of Shaw. Brown for Vola. They're both down there. Flicks it wide. Banfield, little fumble. And that might cost him. Gets the kick away. Pushed on the kick. It hit the post. But he'll get the kick again.
The
fumble nearly turned into a handball to himself and gave him a bit of space to run onto it, didn't it?
And the free kick near cost him goal of the year. He's just under pressure there. Not a lot in the push.
Not much in that, please. How is that a push? He didn't even lose balance.
That's a terrible decision, I would have thought. But anyway, he's got the shot on goal from deep in the pocket there.
Did they model the new Brisbane Lion logo on his face?
Dwayne, no.
Yeah, but he looks exactly like it.
You're big on this.
He looks exactly like it.
Have a look when he stands up.
No, Fitzroy fans aren't happy about the new logo, but he looks like the model. From the pocket.
He's meant to drop punt.
Across the face, and the pluck. And a brilliant pluck at that from Mumford to McVeigh. Only just for Kirk.
Good pluck from Mumford, who may be the most important player tonight for the Sydney Swans to stand up against Leuenberger and Clark in the ruck without Seaby.
Matner pokes it wide.
Gee, Patfull and Bradshaw are working each other off the ball too. I want to ask you, Lynchy, Merritt's a massive loss for Brisbane. Who do they go to if Joel Patfull can't hold Daniel Bradshaw?
Well, do you think, would Maguire go that deep?
Well, Maguire may not be coming back on.
Well, that's taken that one out. Good point. Give me a minute. That's why I'm up
I just think
that
they may be short of options. Merritt's a huge loss for them.
Well, Mitch Clark.
What about speed?
Do they go Jared Brennan, boys? Do they go Jared Brennan maybe?
Yeah, but all of a sudden, if they go, if a Clark or a Brennan goes back there, you're robbing Peter to pay Paul, aren't you?
Brendan Favola did play one game at fullback for Carlton. They put him back there for disciplinary reasons one week, maybe.
Against Brisbane, I reckon,
might
up at
have
the
been
Gabba.
too. Exactly. So maybe he could go back. He's not doing a lot at the moment. Jonathan Brown's the star of the show down there. Tough ball to win here on the wing in the meantime. And Jack, one of the toughest.
They've adapted pretty well, Sydney, because with Mark Seaby off, all they've done is they've swung big Jesse White into the ruck. He's a big, capable fellow, and Shane Mumford's actually gone down to the goal square for a spell.
Would you do the straight swap Staker and Patfull?
Well, you've got Staker on Goods at the moment. So
Yeah, so Patfull can run with Goods, though. He's got that endurance.
You'd be loath to let Goods go if Staker's doing a good job.
All right, well, give me something else.
Malcheski pumps it long. Mumford edged out of it. Patfull might get a ball. He's met high. Jude Bolton just on after being met high himself.
I think he was trying to apologise, Jude Bolton. He said, sorry, he turned into me, I couldn't do much. I don't think he absolutely smashed him, and I certainly wouldn't have thought Jude Bolton's that sort of player anyway.
No, exactly, but still...
You always get worried when you see that head-eye contact, Wayne, don't you?
Absolutely. The best players in the competition can misjudge it sometimes. Jude Bolton doesn't misjudge this. Mumford, Bolton, they're all having a play with it. Kick smothered. Kieran Jack dragged down, tackled, back up again, and still had it. He still had it. Jude Bolton to Moore, dragged down by Power, held to him.
Now, how did Kieran Jack get rid of the ball a minute ago?
Well, he didn't.
Have a look at Jude Bolton here. He does turn. He's turning around, sees him coming, and you can see he knew he did the wrong thing as soon as he got there.
Yeah, that's trouble. Could have been trouble for the man he hip and shouldered, but
True.
I think it is trouble for Jude Bolton. McVeigh outside of the foot. Moore, one grab, two. Fantastic grab.
Great grab. Ash McGrath is looking for the umpire, pleading the case for hands in the back, but umpire will have none of that. And very strong body. Jared Moore just held his ground. We'll have a look here, see if there was any hands in the back. It was in the side.
Yeah.
Side-ish, and that's fair, mate.
Jared Moore lines up and drills it. They lead by 11.
Well, after Brisbane got off to a good start, haven't Sydney answered well? They are up and running, starting to win their share of ball around the ground. And it's turned into an exciting first quarter clash. It's certainly not appearing to be a low-scoring battle. They're both going to attack and use the corridor when they can, and we've got power forwards at each end.
Matt Maguire back on the field, which is good news.
Goal to Jared Moore. So the Lions hit the first two, and the Swans have kicked the last four. And Matt Maguire back on.
Well, that's good news. Mumford's resting at full forward. It allows Jesse White to go into the ruck. So that's a reasonably good cover for Seaby now that he's off injured.
Clark and White go at it. Kirk ducks into that tackle. Umpire was wise to it. O'Keefe handballs out. Shaw, another clearance. Short. Jude Bolton, he looks okay.
Well, he looked very nice. But what looks so good about the Sydney Swans is the unpressured clearances that they're getting from the stoppages around the centre of the ground. They're running out of congestion into space, and so you've got time to straighten up. As Reece Shaw here, there's no one within 2 or 3 metres, gets a little bit of time to straighten up, hits a good pass to Jude Bolton, who just a few minutes ago was seeing 6 balls, I'm sure.
For a 17-point lead, he struck it beautifully, like a sweet kiss, straight through the middle.
We seem to be vulnerable with the leading forward at the moment, the Brisbane Lions, and the centre clearances. See the stoppage here, and there's a massive players in tight here, but Kirk, as we know, he does so well and has for so long. Over to O'Keefe, into space, and that was some really nice work. A few worries for the Brisbane Lions after starting so well. Number of options in that forward 50, and some nice ball coming out of the midfield.
So both teams coming into this game, 4 wins and 1 loss, but Sydney with the better form. Their 1 loss, round 1 to the almighty Saints. The Brisbane Lions coming off that loss last week to Melbourne. That might have knocked their confidence around. Hanbury bounces it to half forward. Good ball to be winning if you're a tough nut like Jack. Travis Johnson did well, committed himself just as hard. Turnover. Hanbury, Moore, trying to get the handball in. Staker bursts through a tackle, thumps it long. Shaw, siren, beats everybody. Fantastic opening term Brisbane Lions came out strong, kicked the first 2 goals of the game. It's been all Sydney since then. They've kicked the last 5. 31 plays 14, quarter time, SCG.
Centre clearances in particular, absolutely killing him. Been watching Ryan O'Keefe running around. He's had 7 touches in the first term. He had Austin to start with. He had Brennan for a little while. He had Selwood for a couple. They have about 5 opponents, the good players these days. It's impossible keeping track of them.
And Daniel Bradshaw's got a different opponent now. Matt Maguire's gone to fullback.
In fact, how dare he is wearing Bradshaw's old number, Matt Maguire. So that'll be an interesting chat when those two get together. Bolton gives it off. Jack hacks it forward. High ball, tough one to grab. O'Keefe nearly grabbed it. Moore, slick hands. Hanbury feeds it back. Jack got the initial kick out of the middle, bouncing ball. Kennedy flicks it back. O'Keefe, a wobbler towards full forward, bouncing ball. Jetta was down there, Bradshaw as well. Selwood gives to Brennan, should get them out of trouble. Not a lot to go to though, only one-on-ones. And Clark and Mumford. Mumford wins the battle. McVeigh slips it inboard. Jude Bolton hacks it towards goal. Redden standing in the defensive goal square, read it well. Handball not so good. Brennan might have to mop up the mess. He's caught. That was ball. Didn't get a clean handball away.
Well, Jace, that's
we
what
know how good he
about.
is, Jared Brennan, but he just tried to do a little bit too much then, beating the second player. They put themselves under pressure. We mentioned that if you can put pressure in the forward 50 zone, Lynch, it goes a long way towards beating the opposition, doesn't it?
This is their third opportunity to have a shot at goal, the Sydney Swans, and it purely came from pressure at the ball carrier, the good tackling pressure and chase when Brisbane were trying to get the ball out of defensive 50.
He's already got 1, Jude Bolton. That's what he's got ahead of him. And that's a spear. He's got 2. They lead by 23.
Very important facet of the game that a lot of clubs, or all clubs, focus on now is when you get that opportunity inside 50 and you miss it, get another one by generating plenty of tackling pressure on the opposition. Fantastic tackle there from Bolton, but it came from others as well. McVeigh was in the area, Moore was in the area. They were all putting pressure on the ball carrier. In the end, it was a turnover by a free kick, and a straight goal was the result. So great result for the Swans at the start of this second term.
2 goals to Jude Bolton, who will be facing some scrutiny from the judiciary for his bump in the first term come Monday. But still playing his heart out regardless. Bounce to restart it. Mumford up early. Clark stayed down. Little flick down, but O'Keefe read that well. They are inspired at the moment, the Sydney Swans. Hanbury, who's been a live wire all season, to Goods. Sells the dummy to Patfull.
Bradshaw.
And he should swallow this.
Well, the one thing that Matt Maguire is going to have to do, you mentioned the change there, Lynchy, he's got to play smart because he can't match Daniel Bradshaw on the lead. That is the one thing he just physically cannot do, is match the speed and the pace off the mark. So he's going to have to play in front and read the play a little bit better than that.
Yeah, with that sort of space. Have a look at the space here that Bradshaw's got the work in. It's I know when I used to play full back and playing in front, I used to feel sick in the stomach with that much space around, and it's a very difficult position to play when there's that sort of quality ball coming in.
3 kicks, 3 goals. This is for number 4. Across the face. It might stay in play. It does. Moore got a little high. Nick Smith gets the kick away. Smith kicked the goal on the line.
Well, Smith's goal, let's put it down to Mumford though, because he was strong in the contest, a strong body against 2 Brisbane Lions defenders, and conversely, Brisbane Lions coaching staff would be filthy with why this wasn't smashed through for a behind or out on the full or anything outside that. Great work from Mumford, got the ball to the front, Moore was involved, and young Smith just on the end of some nice work there to tow one through the middle, and that's certainly what the Lions didn't want. They'll be looking at that one during the week.
First goal of the year for Nick Smith, whose dad Mal played one game for the Saints back in 1982 and failed to kick any goals.
Well, the great thing about that is he's got the job on Luke Power. He kept Power to 3 touches in the first term. He's only had a couple himself, but now has a goal to his name.
Riscatelli hands it up. Brains, is that in the back? No. Jack.
It's smashed out of the middle.
O'Keefe gathers, gives Hanbury. Now Bradshaw, pocket, Maguire. Bradshaw!
Oh.
Can you believe that?
He's on fire.
He's on fire, but we've seen twice in that position of the ground the stronger bodies of the the Swans players. On that occasion was Bradshaw.
Plays on quickly, bends it around. That is perfection.
Now, when teams get runs like this, you've just got to lock down the midfield. Now, that's easier said than done, but certainly you're a direct opponent as a starting point. Try to nullify him before you build on your game. But this is a fantastic, strong body from Daniel Bradshaw and great control of the ball. He's up against an experienced and strong body player in Matt Maguire as well. That's a great mark. And when Daniel Bradshaw does that every day of the week, the kicks around the corner. So it was an easy kick for him. But very important goal again for the Swans.
He might be proving a point to Michael Voss. He said that he was still a bit upset with Vossi, showing no loyalty to him and trying to trade him over summer. And as soon as he heard he was up for trade, he was off. He wasn't sticking around to a club that didn't want him. Favola's down the other end and he's getting cold, and Bradshaw's firing for the Sydney Swans. Favola on cue, lets it bounce past him.
Every right to have a go at the umpire too, Brendan Favola. He was held twice on the lead by Lewis Roberts-Thompson. And the third umpire wasn't even looking at the contest. He was just ball watching.
It's like he's water skiing behind him, LRT, there at one stage. But he's got to keep playing, keep the head up and keep working very hard.
Bumford against Brennan. Brown had it, but gave it up. Chick here in Jacks, one of the first picked in this side at the moment. Heads it wide, and the mark taken by O'Keefe.
Got to slow it down a little bit. Not a lot of head, but look, we know how good Bradshaw's playing, but it's also the midfield, the matchups they've got. Kirk has kept Simon Black to 2 touches. And we've already said that Smith's kept Luke Power to 3 touches.
He's a goal.
So Grundy can give this to Richards, who can get and go. He can have a bounce. He can have 2 bounces. Wants to pass short. Hanbury takes the mark.
Well, they worked. Richards started with Richards.
Got him a bit high.
Space.
He's got a shoulder problem.
Oh, dislocated right shoulder by the look of it. Oh,
that's out of the socket.
Yep.
That's well out.
And that is painful. The young Daniel Hanbury, whose shoulder has popped out. They'll try and slowly screw it back in if they can. It's like the leg of a chicken. It just sort of pops out, and they've got to try and get it back in as soon as possible.
And that's right, because the longer it's out, the harder it is to get back in as the muscles around the shoulder go into a spasm. There's the Dr. Gibbs.
Here we go.
Pulling down on it.
There
it is. Beautiful.
Absolute relief, and he'll be fine in a couple of minutes.
That was magnificent the way he just manipulated that back in. Pulled it down, gave it a half a rotation and said, good as gold.
See, it's just when he's hit the ground there, it's popped out. But
Oh, look at it. Look at it. The way that
nice.
the dent in the arm. Look, that's fantastic. They got put in. He'll come off. They'll double check it. Possibility of coming back on with strapping, but let's just hope that there's no long-term effects.
He almost took his kick there.
Well, I reckon he wanted to. You can be sure the chief wouldn't have given it up. He would have,
let me just tell you,
the shot first.
His shoulder feels a lot better now that it's been put back in than it did a minute ago.
And congratulations to the doctors there.
Great work.
Yeah, absolutely. To the wing. Lions in a bit of trouble. Redden looks up, not a lot of handball options, comes inboard. Buchanan, and too hard for Power, goes back in to mop up that little mess. Shuffled out. Staker caught by Richards. He dropped that. Umpire said no, he gave it out. Buchanan throws it out. No free kick. In fact, that is a free kick to Grundy. Play on advantage. Kennelly pops it wide. Jude Bolton on his bike gets there. Edged into it by McGrath. Free kick for in the back. Jetta wants to play onto advantage. Won't be allowed. There's your explanation.
Good work from Ashton McGrath to actually just hold up the situation there. It's 2-on-1. I mean, the umpire did anyway by not giving advantage, but some good pressure.
Bradshaw played for the free there against Maguire. Didn't get it. Patfull collects across the defensive goal. Leuenberger. And the second grab just inside the line.
Dancing on the line there, wasn't he? We mentioned earlier too, Lynchy, do you swap Brent Staker if he's doing a good job on Adam Goods? Adam Goods has only had 2 touches, But with Patfull released, Patfull's gone to goods, and now Staker's gone forward where he's played in recent weeks.
He's made that tough for Selwood, who's caught, dragged down, got a handball up, good pick up. Jesse White gives it up. Shaw, boundary line, spins around and kicks the full forward off the post. Behind.
Yeah, I think you certainly, one more goal, I think you probably look at Staker. It depends how Maguire goes over the next few minutes, but certainly very experienced player at full-back, centre-half back for over a number of years at St Kilda.
Absolutely. Staker won't mind going back to full-back against the Swans as long as Barry Hall's not playing there, of course. Short pass to Simon Black.
A rare touch for him.
Yeah, and coming off a 32-possession game last week, hasn't been his best. Jude Bolton brushes Leuenberger aside, heads too wide for good. Should have gone for goal.
Well, he should have gone for goal. He's trying to involve his champion teammate, get him in the game. He hadn't had a lot of the ball in the first quarter, but too team-orientated on that occasion.
To Adam Goods' credit, he didn't go crook of the kick. He clapped him and said, "Thanks for looking for me." Much better way of handling it.
White down to Goods. Slips the handball out, but Redden stole it. Kennedy had him, almost thrown away. Patfull under siege at the moment, the Lions. Just makes it somebody else's problem. Hacks it long to a couple of one-on-ones.
Gee, he's got Brownie over a long sprint, hasn't he? Heath Grundy got some good speed.
Lewis Roberts-Thompson spears the kick to half forward, and Redden takes another mark. Plays on quickly. Jonathan Brown has got two to beat here, Grundy being one of them. They tie up a little. Grundy wins it again. And got the free for in the back, but it's play on advantage. Ty Connelly, they've got the midfield to themselves here, the Swans.
Gee, they've got a lot more run than Brisbane at the moment, haven't they?
To Brisbane's credit, on that occasion, they were able to man up quickly to stop the run through the corridor and force Sydney wide, but they've got so much run, the Swans.
Jesse White.
He's got a bounce.
He turned Leuenberger inside out
big fella.
Brilliant. And to his other ruckman. Play on. It was touched. Handball back towards Moore and White. Moore looks up. He's got Goods if he wants him over his head. Bradshaw, Maguire, Bradshaw. They dive in. He's got him in the tackle. Drags him down. Goods comes out in his direction. They are doing as they please, the Sydney Swans.
It's extraordinary that we saw that first 5-10 minutes maybe in the first quarter where the Brisbane Lions were dominated. They dominated the stoppages with strong bodies, put pressure on the Swans whenever they had the ball. But since then, there has been an enormous amount of run from deep in defensively and through the centre of the ground. The midfield's well and truly on top, and that's this great tackling pressure. Bradshaw's kicked some goals. We haven't seen Goods in the game too much so far, but he was there in the right spot on that occasion. Kicked a very good goal.
Brisbane Lions kicked the first 2 goals of this game. Sydney Swans have kicked the last 9. Daniel Hanbury, shoulder back in the socket, getting ready to come back on. Sydney Swans will be top of the ladder tonight if they win this. A lot of game to go though. Rich dragged down.
And it's exciting, Dwayne, to have teams just emerge that we didn't quite factor into our calculations. When we looked at 2010, we went for the usuals. Geelong were up there, the Bulldogs and St Kilda, but we've got other teams jumping out of the ground, and it just makes for such an exciting competition.
Black just hacked that handball long. Richards was waiting for it. Shrugged a tackle, gave to Shaw, and they're away again. Short pass, superb.
Just too much run.
Kennedy. White forced to stop and prop and beaten for it by McGrath.
Just the kick was overcooked on that occasion over the top of Jesse White. Obviously had a size advantage over Ash McGrath.
That's a good win, one-on-one McGrath over White.
Yeah, I think that certainly the kick was in McGrath's favour though.
Clark, big fly, came off the bench, ran the whole journey and nearly brought it down.
And nearly drove Mumford's head into the turf too.
Could have been a double whammy. Smith spears it inside. Moore, no free for in the back. Crowd thought he probably deserved it. Rains breathes a sigh of relief.
Have a look at Mitch Clark, as Dwayne called, came from the bench all the way, and then he lands on him and nearly drives the head into the deck.
Luke Power got a piece of that one. Watch the knee come up here on Luke Power's scone.
I reckon he was lucky. He just got a little nick and didn't get the full whack.
Patfull to Riscatelli. Little shove, make that a big shove from Chesky.
No doubt that the Brisbane Lions are shell-shocked at the moment. They've been hit hard after getting off to a good start. It's just been one-way traffic. Sydney have gone berserk and they're getting run off their feet and they just can't get possession of the footy.
You said run off the feet, and that's what happened last week against Melbourne.
Yep.
Leg speed.
Sherman late withdrawal doesn't help.
That certainly doesn't help.
Maguire spears it to Clark in the middle.
And
Takes the mark.
They need him to play that big ruck rovers role too.
Jonathan Brown, good opportunity here for Vola with him. Brown, Travis Johnston, all share it. Brown tried to give it back. Jetta stolen back by Johnston. Gives it up and Banfield fumbled it. Gets it back, mops up the mess brilliantly. Against the flow.
Most certainly against the flow on that occasion, but you've got to compliment Travis Johnston on that occasion. He was in and around the area, tried to dish it off to, I think it was Jonathan Brown at one stage, but he had multiple efforts involved there. Short hands to Jonathan Brown, went again, got the ball off Jetta, dished out a nice one in front of Banfield, who was able to drag it around his body and kick a goal. So good work, Travis Johnston, been quiet so far in this game, but he's one of those players for the Lions that's got leg speed they need.
Stops the run of goals from the Sydney Swans. They'd kicked 9 in a row to that point. So Banfield with that reply. Canterbury getting more work done to try and make sure that shoulder doesn't pop out again.
But good to see it's happening there and not down the room, so that's a good sign.
Clark tried a little flick back. Kennedy was waiting for it. McGrath again down there. Drummond and Goods. Maguire attacks it. Patfull. Boundary line is Sanctuary. Knows it. Doesn't use it. McGrath toward Travis Johnston. Polkinghorne got it away just in time. Brendan can't break free. And we'll get a ball in 56-20. With the crowd showing their appreciation with this Swans performance. This will continue to drag people through the gates, this kind of footy from the Sydney Swans. There was a time when the chief of the AFL called them ugly. They ain't ugly no more. Riscatelli. Handball to Travis Johnston. It's Clark. Little wipe of the hands on the shorts before he collected. Corralled by White. Wide ball. And Redden takes that millimetres from the turf.
Trouble is for Brisbane, it's stop-start going forward. When Sydney get the ball at half-back, it's just continuous run all the way.
Jonathan Brown, can he get there? Yes.
Favola one out.
And he spots him and hits him. He dropped it, Fev. Had a long piece of it, but not long enough. Still a chance here, the Lions. Grundy got through the pack, and they're away again. Malcheski likes using the corridor, does again here. Spears it to Mumford, dives, missed it. Drummond normally uses it well. Pokes it, Banfield, he can kick it from there. Knows he can, lines up from 45 and misses.
Fev was on his own in the pocket too.
And interesting choice from 45 metres out to see Banfield play on. See Favola under a lot of pressure here. Got a fair, no, he didn't get a fair piece of it actually, but Lewis Roberts-Thompson was there putting the pressure on and made Brendan Favola probably rush the attempt.
He'd normally take those.
Yep.
Marty Matner.
No one on the square from the kick out.
Game 150. Jetta slipped at the wrong time and Staker takes the mark.
One out again, Fev.
Staker sees him running. Roberts-Thompson grabbed Favola. Favola's ball.
It's about time. He should have had 4 or 5 free kicks already, Fev. And I'm not just sticking up for Fev, but the number of jumper pulling incidents that have already happened.
Did you see Brendan Favola looking at the umpire saying, well, you paid that one.
Yeah, what about the others?
4 more.
I've spoken to you about it, mate. Come on.
See the replay here. The kick was long from Staker.
Well, that's probably the least of them.
Yeah,
I've seen the jumper stretched a couple of times.
Which is why Brendan Favola is perplexed, because there's been worse that hasn't been paid, and it's the accumulation of the last 4 that saw that one paid. Huge kick this. This is for 2 in a row for the Brisbane Lions. And to get Fev on the ball with some confidence, never in doubt, they're on the way back.
Well, last 2 goals of the Brisbane Lions is extremely important in the context of this game. It looked like it was about to be blown out. 29 points now is the margin. Lewis Roberts-Thompson a little bit perplexed on this occasion, and Brendan Favola locked his arm down on that occasion. But you're right, Chief. There's been plenty of opportunities that probably should have got a free kick before that one, but on that occasion he went back and slotted it straight through.
First of the night for Brendan Favola. Margin back to 29. And Lewis Roberts-Thompson has had his warnings. Not sure if you can hear that at home, but the umpires just whispering to each other who's holding and who's stopping the other player from going for the ball here. Important clearance coming up. The momentum back with Brisbane, even though the lead still well and truly was Sydney. White, from mid-air. In the end, Kieran Jack to half forward. Moore hands it off. Kirk hasn't had a big night at the office yet. Puts it on the wrong side for Bradshaw, and Maguire read it well. Wobbles that ball back to the midfield, though. Shaw. Clever grab. Poor kick, really.
Yeah, it was poor kick after very good work from Matt Maguire to gain possession.
Shaw heads wide. Kieran Jack again. He's had an outstanding year.
Stay there, Jared. Play on.
So they've blocked up the defence, the Brisbane Lions, forcing Kieran Jack to go back. Jared McVeigh. All the way back to Lewis Roberts-Thompson. So
switch it right out the other side now.
And Kennelly can go here, has plenty of space. He's got Grundy back on in the middle. Jonathan Brown can't shut him down quickly enough. Grundy can bang it long or go with the pass over the head of Kennedy. Jude Bolton's there, tries to flick it out. Kennedy gets it in the end regardless. Feeds it back again. Moore tried to trap it. Lions playing better football at the moment. Selwood pops it up towards the wing. Here's where they have troubles, though. Jonathan Brown. Oh, bang! Mumford came one side and the sandwich Grundy in the other.
Oh, that's a big couple of bodies smashing in there.
He looks all right, though. Shaw gets the handball up. O'Keefe, Mumford, through the hands of Smith. Back to Kennelly.
It's been forced back at the moment, the Swans.
And Shaw should get them out of trouble, although not a lot to go to. Just one-on-ones ahead. Richards, clever grab on the boundary. He was paid.
Brown and Mumford just hit in here.
Oh, yeah.
Got that one. Two fellas, best part of 110 kilos.
That mark wasn't paid to Ted Richards. He thought it was. Crowd thought it should have been. Brennan doing some ruck work against Mumford. Riscatelli. Clark. Rich. And dumped by Goods. Kirk couldn't do something with it. Selwood over it. The late inclusion shuffles it out. Hard, tough footy. And that's probably what Brisbane Lions knew they had to play when they were facing a deficit of 36 points. Daniel Hannebery.
It's a good sign, isn't it? We saw him pop the shoulder out. The doctor put it back in, out on the ground, and he's in the rooms warming up.
McVeigh. All comes clear. O'Keefe. There's a one-on-one. White. Drummond edged him out, but it was in the side. It was legal. Jack got it from Kennedy. Spears it long. Misses. Only behind.
So Adam Goods involved in the last passage of play. Only had the 4 disposals. Got Patfull running with him at the
Magna! Sorry, Alistair. Looked like you on the leap there for a second. Rains wide. Riscatelli. Held up at half back. Looks inboard. And that had to be good. And it was good. Polkinghorn. Jonathan Brown. He's in the box seat here. Jonathan Brown. Richards gets there first. And is that 50?
It should be now. Staples over the mark. It wasn't against Jonathan Brown. He was actually back behind the mark after he was involved in the contest. Staker too close. He never got behind the mark at any stage. You see Jonathan Brown, he runs across the back of the mark and then he makes every effort to get out of it. But Brent Staker comes right in close. That's 5 metres over the mark after he wasn't even involved in the original contest. And that's the shortest 50-metre penalty I've seen. That's about 35.
Ted Richards, just his second game of the year, played in the round 1 loss to the Saints. Long ball. Bradshaw got a hand on it and gets his own crumb. Not 15, play on was the call from the umpire. White tries to knock it on. Oh, that's high and ugly. And the free kick to Buchanan, who did duck a little. And that might be the out for Jesse White.
He's not a big man.
Oh, they're on here. Patfull all on his own. Just need quick movement of the footy.
So Maguire to Brennan to Patfull, and he can go.
He had to play on.
Jonathan Brown was moving.
And that's just the lack of confidence with Brisbane at the moment.
An open forward line, he had to play on.
Pops it up for Brown. He's out of position, and Grundy has been a fantastic defender, being turned into a fullback.
He's
a specialist at that.
One of the most improved players in the competition, Heath Grundy.
There's no doubt about that. On that occasion, Jonathan Brown, he misread the kick. Just thought there was more penetration on the Patfield kick. It dropped short.
Malcheski wide.
They're doing this very well, Sydney, tonight. Just switching the ball up, managing to find a player spare and trying to create space through the centre corridor so they can come back through that position.
Richards wide, Matner.
Fine there, Andrew. That's him gone. Move it on.
Tried to milk a 50 there. Didn't get one. Called to play on. Pokes it up high. Mumford, front spot, knocks it down. Black, who also hasn't had all that good a night at the office, but there's a few Brisbane Lions with him. Maguire sends it wide. Polkinghorn, long handball. Black, little tap down. Selwood, about to get run down. Hits Rains with the handball. Back to Power. Chance here. Banfield takes off. Gets away from Matner. In fact, bounces away from him. Can go for goal and doesn't go for goal. He splits both Favola and Staker. Kicks to Lewis Roberts-Thompson and the Swans are away. Shaw on the rebound. Open forward line. Bradshaw wants it long. It doesn't go long. It goes short to Jetta. And he takes off. Patfield fell. Jetta, he can sniff a goal. Hasn't kicked one in his career yet. Kicks it long. He still hasn't. Lewis Jetta's kicked 5 behinds and still yet to get a goal.
That was the crowd thinking that was going through. Nearly lifted the roof off.
He's going to be an exciting player for a long time, young Jetta here at the Sydney Swans. We saw at the other end Banfield with an equal amount of pace. Just didn't steady with his kick inside 50. And the transition via Reece Shaw was very good for the Swans once again.
Drummond needs to kick this to himself or kick it quickly. He does kick it quickly. Short to Buchanan.
Dwayne, the Sydney crowd haven't caught on the tradition of actually booing their ex-players. They're not even giving him any attention at all, Eamon Buchanan.
Sydney Swans have got 7 players in double-figure possessions. Ryan O'Keefe has 18. There is not one Brisbane player with double figures.
Simon Black with a half volley and pushed in the back as he got the handball away. Kirk's done a pretty good job on him. Simon Black's ball.
Possession number 7 for Simon Black.
Inboard, looking for Polkinghorn through Goods' fingernails, and he gets it back from Bolton. He could go all the way, just pops it up just over the head of Moore. He might roll through, it doesn't.
Just over
wrong side.
Just thought he was putting the ball just out in front of his teammate. But,
goal gone begging.
Yeah, needed to do a little bit better than that.
There's just no play on at all from Brisbane. It's all slow stop start, which is suiting Sydney's defence.
Well, that's got to be a compliment to Sydney Swans' defence as well. When they lose possession, they're quickly in a man-on-man situation to stop the run of the Brisbane Lions.
Travis Johnston.
You'd think there's a time's got to come here soon for the Lions.
Even that option from Travis Johnson, the kick had to be perfect for it to come off.
Clark had the handball up. Buchanan fighting hard. Still not getting booed. Travis Johnston comes up with a bit run down. He got a toe on that, but it's out on the full.
We think there's got to be a time when the Brisbane Lions actually take on the opponents, swing inside, back yourself, actually force the players upfield to lead into space.
Not a happy game number 200 for Travis Johnston thus far.
Not as yet.
And 2 fantastic rundowns by Nick Malcheski.
That's probably the difference in the two sides at the moment. That chase and tackle continue to be involved. As the plus for the Sydney Swans.
Riscatelli, Patfull. Big 1.5 minutes coming up here. The Lions could sneak one here. Black, short, Brown. Now Favola's in a one-on-one with Roberts-Thompson. He's got a couple of options. Favola gets there, can't mark it. Gathers his own crumb, not a lot to go to. Handball-wise, Polkinghorn, he could kick the goal. Rains, he can have a shot. Back to Jonathan Brown. From 55, bangs a long ball, it's there!
How good's that off one step?
Brown goes all the way himself.
That's absolutely amazing kick off one step to kick it that far, Lynchy. I mean, it looked like they were being closed down. Every time they shot a hand pass out the Brisbane Lions, it was to a player under pressure. Jonathan Brown just popped at the top of the 50 and went bang off one step, and there are very few players who can do this. Have a look at the numbers. Look at the red jumpers everywhere. He's in the centre square, one step, bang.
Didn't have a lot of time there. He held the ball initially to try to find Favola, but just had enough on the kick to get across the line.
Well done, Brent Staker, as well, getting a player on the line to shepherd for you. Worth its weight in gold there. Marching back to 26.
There's no doubt Brown's been the best for the Brisbane Lions. 11 disposals. He leads the stat count for the Lions, and with 3 goals as well.
From the ball up, Buchanan with the clearance. Jonathan Brown lurking and looking ominous again. Got hands to it. Gets his own crumb. Rich spears this one at Leuenberger just over his head. Big opportunity there with 45 left on the clock. Roberts Thompson goes backwards. Matner, Kirk to get them out of trouble. This is the kick. Needs to hit a target. Moore's there. Patfull with him. Patfull sees it out. 30 seconds left to half time. 26 points the margin. 2 of the top teams on the AFL ladder. Both 4 wins and 1 loss coming in. Top spot up for grabs. Rich dives in. O'Keefe just as low. Shaw, kick needs to be good. Was that deliberate?
Oh, it was absolutely deliberate, but he's not going to pay it. Some good work from Reece Shaw on that occasion. There's no doubt of his intentions, but...
He's never going to keep it in kicking it right foot from that angle either.
No. But not enough Sydney fans here to cause the roar that would see the umpire pay the free. Black dragged down, no free again. Pushed, no free. Travis Johnston needs to hit someone with his kick. Doesn't. Jonathan Brown lurking. Almost dropped that. The seconds continue to roll. Ball shoots out the back. And danger averted. Sydney Swans will go in with a 26-point lead for this game. Well and truly alive at the SCG. Top of the table battle. Round 6 AFL. And the Sydney Swans 9-5-59 lead the Brisbane Lions 5-3-33. Jonathan Brown has 3 so far.
And good news for the Sydney Swans. Young Daniel Hannebery is on the ground after the dislocated right shoulder. And obviously went pretty much straight back in. A bit of time in the rooms with the doctor, and he's back out there.
Underway, and a big fist from Clark. Thumps it all the way to half forward. Good attack, Polkinghorne. Riscatelli likewise collected it. Jack always attacks it well. Lost it. Favola manufactured a kick. Jonathan Brown, strength. Can't get there. Simon Black got a handball up. Lewis Roberts Thompson. Did he have Pryor? He turned into trouble there. Kirk gets it out. Grundy wide. Sure, they dodge a bullet, although it looks like it'll be coming back quickly. Out on the full.
Well, Jared Brennan starting at half back at half forward in the third time, I should say. Ted Richards is the opponent that's looking after him. But they need something else to happen up there. They can't just rely on Jonathan Brown to pull them out of trouble. Brendan Favola's got to get more involved as well.
Range short to Clark, and he could be the man. Puts it up, and Jonathan Brown can't get there to mark, but he gets it, gives it to Fev. Wrong bloke to be getting back into form. Fev has 2.
Heath Grundy did everything right. He took front position. He was perfectly placed. He just let the ball slip straight through the hands. Jonathan Brown couldn't believe his luck. He thought, oh, that's a poor kick coming in. I wanted one out wide. You can see Brown leading to the fat side. The kick short-sided, straight through the hands of Grundy. Lewis Roberts Thompson can't get it. Brownie marks it, handballs to Fev, and the 2 of them between them can't believe they've just got the easiest goal of all time.
You're risking a free if you push him and he goes to ground. I might fall for it.
A lucky one to Brendan Favola, and he probably needs some luck.
Sometimes you just got to take them however you can get them, Dwayne.
Absolutely.
Just to get momentum going. But for the match, it's a fantastic result. Just tightens it up a little bit, back to 20 points.
Mumford and Clark. Mumford wins it down. Kennedy caught. Gang tackled. Get another ball up.
It's the last 4 goals for the Brisbane Lions, which is just a very handy flow to stem the running of the Sydney Swans just before half-time, and started very well with that big knockout of the centre from Mitch Clark.
Mumford down to Jude Bolton. Caught. Kirk played for the high free kick, didn't get it. Brennan got the ball and tried to throw it on his boot. I think he missed his boot completely, so yeah, you'd think. But not. Banfield diving in. McGrath, Rains, caught. Malcheski drags him down. No prior opportunity. Ball up, but they, without a possession, have been able to scramble it inside 50.
Dwayne, you can see Joel Paffel just lying on the ground. He just actually limped from the ground, clutching his left hamstring. So the doctors are just assessing him at the moment.
Gee.
Well, that's not good.
Josh Kennedy held. Free kick.
And a new role in the second half for Luke Power. Wasn't getting a lot of it in the first half. He's gone on to Jared McVeigh now.
Hanbury, after the shoulder popped out, screwed back in by the doctor, and now back out there with the shoulder strapped. Wobbles it towards Goods. And illegal use of the body.
Oh, and 50.
And you would think so. Although Drummond, the umpire said, knocked it away from Goods. Pokes it inside. Jetta, good fist, knocks it down. Power, handballs over the top to Austin. Brett Kirk, always fantastic when on his knees. Travis Johnston tries to break through, can't. Rains, ball slips out. Staker, Drummond, Power. He gets it to half forward. Banfield's down there. Taps to his own advantage but falls. Tries to get it up back to Black. Knocked away by Kirk. Richards over the top. They're out of trouble, although Jack, he spent that before he earned it. Ball in.
Great competitiveness from young Banfield. He just has a crack. He's got good speed. Another bloke that doesn't mind having a crack. Young Jack, tough as nails. Where's Daniel Rich at, Lynchy? He's only had the 3 kicks, struggling to get into it. He's been pretty quiet this year.
Quiet first 6 weeks, but under an enormous amount of pressure after a massive year last year. He'll work his way into it. But the good thing about Daniel Rich, he doesn't count himself out of the game, so he's still a chance to follow up and be a key factor in the game as it goes on.
It is a poor turnover from Travis Johnson.
Yeah, Daniel Rich, he was picked 7 2008 draft. Would have gone earlier, top 3, but he was tagged all year in the under-18 competition, and there was the thought that he couldn't shake tags, and that's what he's going to have to try and do this year, shake tags. Shaw. And inside 50, McVeigh drops the mark, gets another chance. And that was a pigeon scatterer, that kick.
It was. The kick that he dropped as well was a dirty old floating punt kick, and he done well to actually get a hand on that one, but this one off the boot as well. He's got a fair bit of float on it as well. Don't get spun at all.
Jace, you were just talking about Daniel Rich. They're trying to free him up, actually. He's playing on Jared Moore out of the back pocket. He's just going to take the mark now.
He was such a good player last year, as you said, Dwayne.
Yeah.
That the focus is, when you have a look at the midfield for the Brisbane Lions, obviously you look at Simon Black. He's very hard to stop. And the next in line is Daniel Rich, so he's getting an enormous amount of attention.
Riscatelli takes the risk, sends it long. Jonathan Brown, can he get there? Good hands. And ridden into the dirt by Grundy just to make him earn it. It was fair.
Fev on the lead.
And good pass. Fev is held up a little. Roberts Thompson with him. Redden tries to tap it down for Vola. He's getting into it now. Rolls it towards goal. Over the line. Wasn't touched. Fev has 3. Look out.
And we know Brendan Favola is one of those players, if he just gets the confidence up. We saw 2 weeks ago against the Western Bulldogs, came out and kicked 4 goals in a quarter. That's what the Brisbane Lions need, on the back of some fantastic work from Jonathan Brown up the ground. Very strong hands, but this is just a little toe poke, and it's gripped and spun around. Nice little leg break there for Brendan Favola, and a handy goal. Just starting to string a few together. That's 5 in a row for the Lions.
Roberts Thompson with the job. Brendan Favola, 3 goals, 2 in this term. Margin back to 14 points. The Swans did lead by 42.
This is where it's turned around in the clearance situation in the middle of the ground.
Mumford with the tap. Jude Bolton had it, but was tackled by his old teammate Buchanan. And there's a tie-up. Umpires tonight, Michael Vozzo, Steve McBurney, Stuart Wen. Tight contest now. Sydney did threaten to break away and put it beyond doubt. Fantastic fight back the Lions. Jude Bolton. Drummond just rode him a little, and it's Jude's free.
Yeah, he's no good again, Jude
No,
Bolton.
he was nearly knocked out in that opening minute.
A little bit unsteady, isn't
he?
it?
Doesn't know where he is.
Well,
he can't pick the ball up.
Well, he's looking at 6 balls, I would say. Doesn't know which one to grab. He's a bit dazed there.
Now, Jude Bolton did take it, but the umpire brought it back. I don't know why the umpire would bring it back.
Oh, his head hit the deck very hard. He face planted into the ground.
Yeah, I think he needs a little contact just before that. He was almost out to it when he hit the ground.
Hanbury pokes the pass, Goods, and the second grab. I'm not too sure why the umpire made him take that again, Jude Bolton.
Nor am I.
He gave it off, and he had no intention of letting somebody else have the possession.
Haven't seen a lot of this man in the first half, only the 7 disposals, but we know how dangerous he is, whether it be a forward or on baller.
Got a Brownlow vote when these two teams met round 22 last year. He was inspirational then. He might be again tonight.
There's no doubt that's the goal that the Sydney Swans needed. 5 in a row. Just have a look at the Bolton.
Good angle.
Almost concussion, really. Come in.
Cops the arm then
Drummond.
cops the ground.
That's 2. He's bitten the dust twice now in an hour of football. Very heavily. He's dazed and needs probably a spell. But at the other end, Adam Goods, good mark and fantastic kick from 55 metres.
Jude Bolton off after Adam Goods kicked that goal, and he looks okay. He was stunned.
I'll tell you what, he's tough as nails. I mean, have a look at his approach here. Eyes on the footy, he cops one to the side of the head, and then the head face plants into the ground. He's chewing grass.
As they've always said, he might look like Jane, but he plays like Tarzan. From the ball up, huge clearance to win this one. Massive players around the ball, not coming out easily, and the umpire might have to sort it out. No, they've sorted it out with a free. And 50.
Rubbing the head into the deck, I reckon.
Gee. So Nick Smith will have a shot at goal.
Just can't afford to give those. We heard the umpire actually said the rub on the head.
Yep, any high contact they frown upon, you'll get pinged.
Players know and coaches reinforce, you touch someone's face, you're going to be in strife. Now we'll see the free kick given for in the back, and we'll see the 50 here in a minute. Just big Matty Leuenberger just getting off the ground, just needed to help assist himself with a bit of a rub on the back of the scon.
For 2 within a minute. And he wobbles it straight. 26 points the margin.
Well, all the good work that Brisbane had done at the start of this third quarter is undone by a couple of quick goals to Sydney, and they now face the same margin that they did at half-time, 26 points. You just can't afford to give away silly little free kicks. Look, there was very little in it, but he didn't need to do it. As Matthew Leuenberger gets up, instead of pushing up off the ground, he pushes up off the player's head. You just can't do that. It's not hurting him, but it's just silly, and it's cost a goal.
Two-goal night so far for Nick Smith. Crowd hushed. 11-5, plays 7-3. Bounce favours Leuenberger slightly, though Mumford had the run. McGrath had the ball, lost it. Rich got it up. Rains dragged down. Jack's tackle superb.
A great tackle then from Kieran Jack, but the momentum, the Brisbane Lions had possession out of the clearance, but the weight of pressure from the Sydney Swans forced Brisbane back, and it was Rains that took possession. He had to reach up, so he had to slow, and then Jack had the speed to close.
And it's in his genes to tackle, isn't it?
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, his dad made a few great tackles here at the SCG when Balmain were playing a lot of their football in this stadium.
To make it 3 goals to the Swans within 2 minutes. Starts at left and leaves at left. And we have talked a lot about rugby players, union and league, coming into AFL. And kicking is going to be the thing that's going to trouble them most, kicking and picking up ground balls.
The kicking is going to be a massive aspect of the transition for those players. It's kicking in general play on the run.
And kicking under pressure.
Yeah, when someone's chasing you and you've got to kick a pass to someone on the lead, that's going to be the big challenge for these guys coming across. Set shots, that's a different kick altogether, but on the run is going to be difficult.
What about that for a
That
kick?
is a sensational kick, although McGrath couldn't quite take the mark. Selwood had it but lost it. McGrath, second effort, magnificent. Hacks it long. Brown got a hand to it, gathers the crumb, thought about dishing it off, and smothered from Shaw. Malcheski can't get it out. Ball knocked out. Buchanan knows where the goals are here. Touch, play on. Favola down there. Off hands. Selwood, Favola. He's already kicked one off the deck. Make that 2 off the deck and 4 for the night.
This is extraordinary. Fev's making goals out of nothing. To have 4 goals at this stage, you say, oh, he's obviously been a fantastic player. He's only had a handful of possessions. He hasn't taken many marks. In fact, he's only taken the 1 mark. 1 mark he's got to his name, but he's got 4 goals because he's just, look at this, a little bit of soccer to himself.
That's some pretty
Doesn't have
handy
to
work.
be pretty. You've just got to get the job done, and that's what he's doing.
Three goals for the term, 4 for the night.
As we said a couple of weeks ago against the Bulldogs, third quarter kicked 4 goals. That sort of confidence to get the goals on the board, even though they're just towed across the line, could lead to a big mark on a lead in a 50-metre goal. His confidence certainly up.
Clever from Clark, sidestep Mumford, knocked it to half forward. Riscatelli tried to knock it further on. O'Keefe trapped it, got up, kicks it. There's one-on-ones ahead. Big flyers go up. Well played by White, knocked it down to Rains though. Rains has a bounce. He's got only one-on-ones. Tries to find a loose man. Heads wide, O'Keefe flies with the fist. McVeigh, power. Ball slips through them both. Jude Bolton got the arms free. Matner shoots it wide. O'Keefe pokes it. McVeigh, he can go. Bradshaw, and he's got it on the second grab. Well, he kicked 4 goals in the opening half. Daniel Bradshaw, 3 of them to this end in the opening term.
He juggled the first one. I think Matt Maguire actually thought he'd taken it clean to start with and gave up a little bit, but certainly had another opportunity with some nice delivery from McVeigh. Maguire stopped, then realised there's another chance, but too late.
Should have done better from half-back Brisbane. The kick from Andrew Rains wasn't a great one.
For number 5. Bends it back, it's coming, not enough. Fists go up or behind. Johnston, game 200. Mitch Clark. Some calm here. It's been a hot, tough contest. Simon Black takes the mark.
About to break into double figures, Simon Black. Possession number 10. Ryan O'Keefe leading all comers with 21.
Got Brett Kirk on him, short, Brennan, Johnston, Rains. Now who's going to have the kick? Johnston back to Brennan. Sidestep, tried to step Jetta. Hard man to step. Back to Johnston. Now Fravola's down behind play. He's been given a smack in the mouth.
And I've got to tell you, the third umpire has not been keeping an eye on those contests either.
Grundy sends it wide to Goods. We'll see if we've got that hit behind play.
And I mean, the whole premise of the third umpire coming in originally was to look ahead of the play, wasn't it?
Yep.
It's almost like that's gone out the window to a degree.
All umpires ball watching.
Probably. Brennan floats in. Good grab. Lewis Roberts-Thompson and Favola still pushing and shoving.
And I understand they do need to ball watch because they can make decisions from any parts of the ground, but you've also got to look at what's happening off the ball.
Wide ball, and there he is again. Simon Black starting to get a fair bit of it. He wants to pump it long.
Yeah, just very little movement.
No one's
ahead.
leading. No one's leading. He's got nothing to do. He put his hands up. He said, what do you want me to do?
Dangerous kick. Brennan makes it look okay. He calls for calm. Doesn't want to go backwards.
Oh, it's a terrible
The
kick.
smallest bloke out there. Buchanan knocked away though. Rich, short. Can he hit the target? Banfield had to stretch. Got there.
Almost by luck, not design, because it was Brennan saw the loose player in the middle, but he didn't see Adam Goods and one of the other Sydney defenders coming in to cover. Nearly killed the Brisbane player in the middle of the ground.
Certainly did. Now, Daniel Rich is in the right position again. He's always finds himself, and that was probably a little fortunate because it was a great defensive spoil, but he finds himself in the right position so often when there's a pack forming and a punch down the front.
The margin hasn't been 16 points since the opening term. Swans have led by 42. Straight through the middle, and the Brisbane Lions continue to surge. It's a 16-point game.
Well, it's been an extraordinary comeback from the Brisbane Lions. Saw Brendan Favola just off the ball, just a little grab. Didn't seem to be a lot in it, but he might have just cut the lip or something like that. But the Brisbane Lions, since halfway through that second term, have stopped the run of the Sydney Swans and just starting to control the tempo of the game themselves. Conceded 2 goals just a few minutes ago, but have answered back with Banfield slotting one through from 50 metres.
Couple of young stars on the rise, Todd Banfield and Nick Smith. Nick Smith in game 15 and Todd Banfield in just game number 6. 16 points. White and Clark. White wins it, but it might be a Brisbane Lions clearance. Riscatelli had it, but then fell and lost it. Brennan, gather. Gets his arms free. Simon Black back to Brennan. Wants to take them on. Does well. Back to Black. Free man in the middle. Mitch Clark. He bangs it long. Chance for the Leapers to go up. Now Chesky got hands on it. Couldn't bring the mark down. Grundy, not a lot to go to. Richards wrapped up, dispossessed. Leuenberger hasn't kicked a goal for 2 years. He has now. It's a 10-point game.
And again, they're just making goals out of nothing. But I tell you what's changed for the Brisbane Lions. They've simplified things. They've started to just belt the ball forward, create contest. They're not playing that slow stop-start football. They're taking more risks. They're kicking it deep into the forward line to contest, and they're making goals out of contest. Good defensive pressure there from Jonathan Brown, a great tackle. Leuenberger picks it up, kicks a goal.
Got a lot of faith in Matthew Leuenberger.
It's a long time between goals, Dwayne.
Yeah, just the 3 games last year, of course, because of the knee injury. But yeah, 2 years since he's kicked one. And Paul Roos, who saw his team break out to a 42-point lead in the second term, seen that lead cut back to just 10. Clark doing well in the ruck. Wins this down.
He's been good, Clark.
Jack gets it up. Jesse White banks it up in hope. High ball. Mumford came hard. Got hands to it. Goods about to pounce. 49 from goal. He spent that before it hurt it. Adam Goods hasn't been the best night on his calendar yet, but he could turn it into his best. Struggling a little and playing up forward. We'll get a ball in.
9 disposals for Adam Goods.
Importantly, though, a good contribution with a couple of goals.
Yeah.
That's what you've got to do when you're not getting much of it. Make sure you use the ball.
Clark again wins the palm down. Jude Bolton gets a kick to full forward. Bradshaw's down there. A little wrestle. Bradshaw and Maguire.
Good decision. Good decision. They were both doing it.
Okay.
And that's probably the advantage that Maguire has over Patfield. He has that bodily strength to match it with Bradshaw in that sort of clinch.
Drummond. The runner's inside 50 here.
Free kick.
And it's going to be a 50-metre penalty.
50 metres.
Wasn't that interesting? It was. We get the benefit of the umpire's microphones. It was almost like they're telling Joel Patfield, Josh Drummond, hurry up and kick it, you'll get a 50-metre penalty.
Is that Stuart Maxfield?
It is Stuart Maxfield running.
Okay. Jonathan Brown. Can't mark. Grundy wasn't paid the mark. Used to Kirk. It'll come back. Kennelly looks up. Jude Bolton might go here. Mumford called back in by Jude.
Good mark from the big ruckman, just pushing forward.
It is, but I reckon you'd rather have Jude Bolton kicking for goal than Shane Mumford.
Yeah, I think he just could have held out Brennan under the ball, but nevertheless, they've got a shot at goal, which has been pretty hard to get. It was Drummond that was caught under the ball on that occasion.
Has kicked one this year, Shane Mumford. Elected to stay with the number 41 that he wore at Geelong for the same reason, because there's no 41 on the locker in Sydney, and he wants to make the number his. That's what he has ahead of him. It bends, and it might not even score. It's just touched, not out on the full. Not a bad result. Better than out of bounds on the full. They still get a ball in.
Well, they get another opportunity to generate a shot at goal. Behind, obviously, would have handed the ball over to Brisbane.
Mumford tied up with Leuenberger. Leuenberger wins it down. Rich hassled high, and he's hurt too. Daniel Rich. Little stunned.
Wasn't Jude Bolton again, was it?
I think it was. Leuenberger, the target, raked it in and then let it go. Staker can give it back to Leuenberger. Goods just overcommitted there. Left Leuenberger on his own. A little bit of poetry in slow motion. Uses the full 15 for Vola. He's got it but lost it. Roberts Thompson dragged down. Got out of jail again there. Grundy. Handball not good. Ted Richards, body on the line. Gives it up. Kennelly. Look away. Handball. Jack. Austin comes at him. Handball out O'Keefe. He's caught. Fantastic pressure. Riscatelli dumps him into the turf.
Gee, Fev did all the hard work. Drops the chest mark. Here's the high contact. It's actually Mumford that does it. It was Jude Bolton that stood the mark. But we've got another injured player here. This is Ryan O'Keefe, and this doesn't look good because there were Brisbane players waving as well, saying get the doctor out here. He does not look well.
There's been some concussed players tonight. He's
tell you what you don't need when you're battered like that is a teammate that comes in and gives you a pat on the head and says you'll be right. Just a wobble, whatever else is
that was the tackle. Riscatelli into the ground.
So they're essentially a man down as he comes off the Sydney Swans because he's not off yet. Can't be replaced. Jack short and Jude Bolton holds it up.
Yeah, because there was no Sydney Swans players at the time forward of him.
But look at the run though that's come from behind the footy.
Grundy. Jonathan Brown pursues, and the boundary line too quick for them both. We'll get a ball in.
Well, the good thing for Brisbane was that Brisbane ran out with the Sydney Swans players. Have a look at the Riscatelli tackle on O'Keefe. Maintains possession, O'Keefe, and head hits the ground.
And nothing underwater. He's entitled to throw him to the ground because he's holding the ball. He's tackling him, and the umpire hasn't blown the whistle, so you're entitled to throw him to the ground.
Jude Bolton tries a slick handball, missed the target. Blind turn, spectacular from Rains. Hands it up though to Jetta. Hands it back, now Chesky, free kick. It'll come back. It was an advantage for the Swans.
Matty, kick it up there, kick it up there.
We better kick it very quickly. Kick it quickly.
Go the top, yeah.
And a big, how good's the barrel?
He got spewing.
He got 3 warnings from the umpire. Kick it up there.
He didn't mean to kick it that well
back.
I
don't think he meant to hit it that well.
Oh, terrible kick and
Power.
Terrible attempt at a mark from Luke Power. Rains back with the flow. Ball shuffled out. Jack hacks it towards goal. Bradshaw manhandled. It won't matter. It's gone all the way.
Hasn't been a great night for Luke Power. He's come back into the side just the 8 possessions. He's been given a run with role in this third term on Jared McVeigh, but he was poised to create the turnover and rebound from half back. The little chip kick missed the Sydney Swans player it was intended for, and unfortunately straight through the hands of Luke Power, and that resulted in a little bit more pressure, and then this great snap from Kieran Jack. He's a gem. He's just a goer, Kieran Jack.
Started off as a rookie, Kieran Jack. In fact, he said the cost of living was so high in Sydney when he was on such small money as a rookie first list player. He'd get to the top of the hill near home and then put the car in neutral to save a little bit of petrol and coast it all the way into the driveway.
You just add in a little bit to that story, are you, Dwayne?
True story. I read it in the paper.
Oh, you're right.
Ball up, and you do believe everything you read, of course. McVeigh gets the handball up, and a good one too. Matt Goods dropped the mark. Malcheski spins out of trouble. Bradshaw over his head. Might peel back. He does. Luck's a fortune. Can you believe it? Bradshaw's got 5.
That's twice in this quarter that Sydney Swans have been the answer with 2 very quick goals. Yep. On that occasion, it was a good sign that Adam Goods was in front and that they had plenty of crummers when the spill of the ball actually did come. Bit of it fortunate that the ball got over the back on that occasion. Matt Maguire, as you can see in the background there, very disappointed that he couldn't keep the ball in front. It was just the floater and the speed of the ball just carried over the back to give Bradshaw that shot at goal. He's had a very good one. That's 5 straight for Daniel Bradshaw tonight.
"22 goals for the season now for Daniel Bradshaw." Jonathan Brown leads the race for the Coleman, and he has 23. Bradshaw, his old teammate, just 1 away. And the ball up. Clearance big here. Kennedy gave to Jack. What an input he's having. Inside 50. Is that a mark? Malcheski.
It's a very good grab, diving mark, and Rains has landed on Malcheski there. Might have taken the wind out of him. It was a good stretching mark, and the anticipation to see that the ball was actually just going to carry over the contest there. It was Adam Goods and Staker. So good work there. It's taken the mark, and then
if it wasn't a mark, it was high contact initially because he put the right arm around the over the shoulder and around the head.
Just felt it in the lower back there. Certainly made him earn the mark or the free kick.
They pulled the margin back to just 10 points. But this to push it back out to 29. Makes the goal umpire dance, but it's through.
Once again, very quick goal for the Sydney Swans. In the last 2 minutes, they've been able to 3 minutes, been able to string the 3 goals together, which is just what they needed going into three-quarter time. They've been outplayed for 40 minutes of football by the Brisbane Lions, but on a couple of occasions strung those quick goals together to answer and just try to take the pressure off going into three-quarter time, because Brisbane have applied an enormous amount of pressure across the field for the last 40-45 minutes.
"29 minutes gone, third term. 29 points the margin."
Doesn't spend a lot of time in the forward half, Nick Malcheski.
Jade Rawlings. Coach's box with Michael Voss. Saw Craig Lambert as well. And Adrian Fletcher was in there. The foursome.
Dwayne, you just see Ryan O'Keefe. He's just been talking to the doctors probably for the last 5 minutes. He's just done a couple of run-throughs. Keeps pointing to his head. He's got a massive headache. They've given him a couple of aspirin and he should be okay to come back on in a minute.
It's aspirin and a good lie down. Banfield through traffic towards Favola. Roberts Thompson with him. Jonathan Brown now lurking. Grundy's done a good job so far since quarter time. Thrown up. Favola appeals for the free. Doesn't get it. If he's joined us late, Jonathan Brown 2 goals in the opening term. Currently has 3. Brendan Favola 4 and Bradshaw 5. Back into play. White knocks it down. Clark dished it out. Rich dived into that White tackle. Ball up.
We're starting to see that trend that Brisbane can slip into. Again, with only 4 goal kickers, they are very reliant on Brown and Favola to kick big bags if they're going to win.
Clark with the flick to the open field. Malcheski was there waiting for it. Jude Bolton had it, lost it. Riscatelli gang tackled, and the 6-pack falls.
Interesting call, Dwayne. He said he's tapped it back into the open space, which would be a great tap if there was a Brisbane Lions player there, but no one read it. No one knew what he was going to do because there were only Sydney players there.
And that's the key for ruckman. It's all right getting the tap, but tap it to your own.
Yep.
And that was to his own. Austin, wobbler, and Moore takes the mark. Jared Moore.
It was well done by Moore, but also I think it was Nick Smith protected Moore, allowed him to come back with the flight of the ball.
Jude Bolton pleading for it. He's doing star jumps on the wing. Richards saw him finally. Jude thinks a long bomb to Hanbury's the go. Knocked away by Drummond. Race on, goal square. Drummond gets there first, but he's in trouble. Goods tries to throw a toe at it. Maguire out of trouble. Rains. He has Brennan who can go. Not a lot to go to. Took the step to play on and played on almost into trouble. Redden.
Very quiet, Jared Brennan.
Selwood. Late inclusion. Gets a little ride. And now to the open field. Long bouncing ball. Maguire. kicks the long ball himself. Jonathan Brown sets for Vola. They're both up. Brown couldn't get a hand on it. Shaw back of the pack. Caught. Handball out towards the boundary but doesn't find it. For Vola. He's done everything right this term so far. Not then.
And young Banfield just having a little chat to Brendan Favola, saying you might have got me just at the top of the square.
Yep.
But it was Banfield that caused the spillage with his enormous pace that we've seen in the first part of this season. He's a pace to get the shot at goal, but also the pace to tackle was at the forefront on that occasion.
And again, they created a scoring opportunity by the quick long kick to a contest deep into the attacking 50.
Clark and White got hands to it. Clark might gather. Does on the wing and runs away. Handball good to Selwood. Little fumble. Buchanan slick to Black. Can he hit a target? Sends it long. Favola got a couple on him. Roberts Thompson front spot.
Jonathan Brown not happy. He provided the short lead. And Simon Black just didn't have the leg to kick it 60 metres to Brendan Favola. Had to go with the short option.
Kennelly. 2 minutes to three-quarter time. 28 points the margin. Short. And dangerously to O'Keefe, who seeks the boundary successfully.
Experienced enough just to let that one go over the boundary line.
At an 18 possession first half and currently has 21. Ryan O'Keefe.
And a headache.
Yes. Mumford front spot. Didn't want to take possession. Knocked down to O'Keefe. Gets another possession. 4 for the turn, but it's a turnover. Johnston got it from Rains. Gives to Black. Wants to set it up. Jonathan Brown, well, he was admonished by Brown a minute ago for not giving it.
Yep.
He honors the lead this time.
I don't think he had any intention of kicking to anyone other than Jonathan Brown once he got it that time.
Just like a tracer ball into Jonathan Brown. That was well done by the Brisbane Lions. Out of that stoppage, they had 2 or 3 defensive sweepers that sat back off the contest outside their forward 50 arc. Ball spilled out. They had time to spread it wide onto Simon Black, and we see every week Simon Black's ability to hit targets on the left foot.
Must kick goal.
Spot on. He has 3. And that was never in doubt. All the way, he has 4, and the Lions have a sniff again.
2 big guns have got 4 apiece for the Brisbane Lions, Brown and Favola. But Simon Black is just starting to work his way into the game. Started off slow. He's had the 15 disposals and leads the count along with Jonathan Brown. But there's the defensive sweepers. It was Rains and it was Travis Johnson. They allowed to sit back by themselves, and the work rate of Simon Black to get back there and support them was very good, and his skills to finish.
Huge 58 seconds to three-quarter time. 22 points the margin. The home team lead. These 2 teams, 4 wins, 1 loss coming in. This is the battle for top spot. McVeigh towards Goods. Staker was there. Clean bowl. Malcheski gives it to Goods. Easy as you like.
Squeezed it in.
One had put that one in the book, I think, and the goal umpire had to do an enormous amount of work to get across, but good clearance work, and the numbers at the contest at the spillage inside 50 was very good, and Adam Goods out in space with Paul Roos, very happy with the result there.
Well, he wasn't initially. He liked the end result. That was some great footage of the Sydney coach there. We might have to revisit that.
Yeah, just good hands, right spot. Hasn't been a big game.
The parallax error, gentlemen. It was always a goal, always on course, but from our angle, looked like it was going to be offline.
And the goal umpire ran a long way.
That's right. Paul Roos was a very worried man. 28 points, 40 seconds left. Clearance important again here. Leuenberger had it, lost it. Kirk ducks out of a tackle, hacks it to half forward. Austin with the fist. Hanbury with the crumb attempt. Johnston caught by Hanbury. Ball up.
Just put the head down, Travis. That wasn't a free. Thank you.
Umpire Steve McBurney calling the shots. 22 seconds. Time enough for a clearance and a score to either side from here. Almost it is high on Kennedy. So Kennedy needs to get a mark from this kick. He won't know how long left.
Lions have had time to get big numbers back.
Well, they haven't pushed enough players back. I reckon there's a few that are a little bit lazy getting back, Lynchy.
Here's the kick. Needs to be marked by Bradshaw. He's got it. No! He's paid it. He's been paid it on the siren.
Now, does he go the drop punt or the talk from here? What's his range like, Lynchy?
His range is good enough. I think certainly a drop punt. If he hits it well, he's certainly got the distance. And this is the side we see so often with Daniel Bradshaw. It can go right to left, but certainly will finish left to right. And,
great effort.
The umpire just thought he's got the
talk.
barrel.
He is.
Love it.
This will be a lesson for young kids at home. He's got onto it. It's going. It's going.
Oh, my word!
Gone! A monster!
Turn it up.
After the siren, and they come from everywhere. It's like footy in the 70s. 34 points to margin at three-quarter time. So if you've joined us late, Bradshaw has 6 against his old team. Favola has 4. Jonathan Brown has 4. Sydney have a 34-point lead. Bounce. Action back in the middle. Clark jumps early, gets his own clearance. Brown held off. Didn't get the free. He was definitely held. Mumford gives to Kennelly. Swans away to half forward. Fist from Austin, knocks it down. Travis Johnston beaten for it by Jack. A wobbler inside 50. Rich forced to punch. Moore runs into Johnston. Gets it up. Now Chesky slung. Rich. Now chance for Staker. Half back. Jonathan Brown coming hard. Shaw's free kick against Buchanan.
A tough night for Eamon Buchanan, just the 10 possessions.
Yeah, against his old team. Jack couldn't take possession, nor could Jonathan Brown. Swans have the numbers, although coming in quickly, Banfield. Ball free for a split second, but the umpire will have to sort this out with the ball up.
Well, they threw everything at him in the third term, but Sydney just kept finding the answers and, in fact, increased their lead. But there's no doubt Brisbane have got to kick the first couple to put any sort of pressure on Sydney in the fourth term here.
Mumford and Clark. Mumford, perfect time down to Kirk, ducked into that tackle. Back to Mumford. Now McVeigh. Backtracks. Moore. Everybody getting a possession. Shaw. Malcheski. Poor kick. Really had to motor to make a contest and takes it out.
A couple of the keys in this last term, I think, for Brisbane is going to be Jared Brennan. Hasn't had a massive impact in the game with only 11 disposals. And someone like a Luke Power. We know Luke can get mass possessions in a short period of time and he can kick goals as well. So it's going to be very important for those two to get involved and get some goals on the board for their team.
Yeah, Brennan could almost have got a free there. Yeah. Had his jumper held.
Plenty of jumper holding tonight. But they're just winning the clearances too easily, Sydney. That's the problem. They can't get clean takeaway at the stoppages, Brisbane, and unfortunately it's too much hard work bringing the ball from down back to kick quick goals.
Brisbane free. Saw Lukey Power trying to get free of Nick Smith, and he gets free here. Kicks it towards Jonathan Brown. Gee, Ted Richards, where angels fear to tread.
And good work by Jonathan Brown, because he could have poleaxed him.
He could have.
It's a different era.
Was poleaxed last year.
Dangerous spot.
Ty Kennelly.
Favola, how's that? To Banfield from 40. They're still alive. They're not going away in a hurry, the Lions.
He's kicked 3 goals now, Banfield, but it did come from a Sydney error. Ty Kennelly, can't believe it, slipped straight through the hands. They were away, they were running, about to break from halfback Sydney, and just when you think they've got a chance of icing the game, a poor skill error costs them a goal and gives Brisbane that little sniff. Todd Banfield's been a beauty. He's lively, he puts defensive pressure on, he's got Tremendous pace, aggression, desperation. He's got 3 goals to his name.
The Lion look-alike. 3 goals for Todd Banfield. Mumford and Leuenberger, fresh off the bench. Leuenberger wins this down to Black. Tried to manufacture a handball, couldn't. Mumford, Kirk, Brennan tackled him. He did get rid of it. Mumford, McVeigh, Richards, almost caught from behind. Marty Matner. A wobbler, half forward, tough ball to grab. Goods comes hard, brilliance.
Well taken.
Top shelf from Adam Goods, and the pass just as good. Bradshaw spilled it. He's marked everything that's come his way tonight. Not that time. Brennan, Johnston, kick needs to be good. It's not. O'Keefe, Mumford tackled on the kick. It did hit the shoe. Selwood, the late inclusion, pokes it wide. Riscatelli. Jonathan Brown leads back.
Adam Goods' pick up and delivery was outstanding.
McGrath
Got Leuenberger.
and goes to the goal kicker instead, Todd Banfield.
Well, one thing
Good
Todd
work,
Banfield does do,
Banfield.
Lynchy, with his pace, he'll present. And if you put it out in front of him, there aren't many players going to run past him.
No, he'll put space between himself and his direct opponent. And on that occasion, he just threw some congestion, lateral lead across the front, and found some space and was honoured.
Good
Massive
kick here.
kick.
Good kick here, and the game's on again.
Absolutely. That's what he has ahead of him. Low trajectory. He's missed.
Just dropped that ball on the inside, not over his right boot, and chased it. Have a look at Adam Goods here. Clean pickup. Hasn't been the best night for Adam Goods. He's got it on the scoreboard. Now has the poise to straighten up and lace out the Daniel Bradshaw.
Shaw was in a spot of bother. Got it out. Kennelly. And
Gone.
that is dead. And you can have a shot from the Bradshaw torpedo pocket, Redden.
Oh, still
Just
playing
played
on.
on.
Got to kick it.
Didn't really take a step. He made out he was taking a step. Johnston caught by Jetta. Wobbles it to full forward. Power just overran that. Riscatelli thought about the tackle. Goes the ball. It's alive here. Full forward for the Lions. We should get a ball up.
You'd love to have a special night on your milestone game, wouldn't you? Travis Johnson playing game number 200. It just hasn't worked for him. He's missed targets. He's been tackled, run down from behind. He's had 15 possessions. He's tried hard, but it just hasn't happened for him.
Not over yet. Leuenberger with the knockdown. Polkinghorn couldn't pick up. Riscatelli does turn over. Hanbury. Handball a little too strong. Danger here for Vola lurking. Selwood's down there. Banfield over the top. Trying to rake it out, Selwood. Jonathan Brown. Gang tackled. Ball up. Dangerously close to goal here. Too far out for the Swans to knock it through.
Banfield looking dangerous again.
Leuenberger, there's that flick back. Kennedy was waiting for it. Banfield, no free kick for too high. Umpire said he ducked. Kennedy, no prior opportunity, slips it out. And again, the umpire will need to sort it out with the ball up.
And Troy Selwood, the late inclusion, he's one that's actually getting involved at the moment as well. Plenty of players deep in the forward line for the Brisbane Lions.
Ball tossed in the air for Vola, tried to knock it on. Selwood, as you mentioned, Alistair in the thick of it. Okay, the umpire's done a pretty good job tonight. And on that occasion, not paying the quick free kick. Let them sort it out themselves. Leuenberger, Mumford, Roberts Thompson, Banfield, slung 360, handballs it over the top, and did he kick it from midair? He did, Luke Power, but it's only a behind. A crazy scramble.
Banfield and Selwood in that scrimmage, I think they had hold of the ball about 5 times each. Banfield's just starting to look dangerous. Looks like he could just snap something out of nowhere and score another goal.
That's strange. They just look like they're feeling the pressure sitting in, yet it's a 27-point margin. It should be comfortable.
Shaw across his defensive goal. Could be a turnover. Luke Power. Now, he's not a big launch of the ball, but he may be just within range.
He had Simon Black and he said, no, I'll go back, and that's fine. We've got to kick it now, Lukey Power.
We just saw Reece Shaw just trying to get enough space to get around onto his right boot because he had to carry Luke Power. Good chase from the Brisbane Lions defence.
Back into the team. Didn't play last week to keep his team alive. He keeps it low, and it's offline.
But you're right, Jason. Sydney look like they're devoid of all confidence at the moment when they run out of defence. Certainly from these kicking situations. The zone's in position early for the Brisbane Lions. Not a lot of movement for Sydney. Not too many options at all.
And you can see that written on Ty Kennelly's face. Yeah, he's looking out the corner of his eye. There's nothing there.
Someone leads. Surely someone will lead.
Sneaky sideways look. Still nothing there. Kicks to himself. Gee, Favola's chase was horrendous. Kicks a long ball. Jonathan Brown lurking. Beaten for it by White. Second grab across the line. It's a ball in.
Well, that was a very good option from Ty Kennelly to play on and get the ball as far away as possible from goal. Take the pressure off at least for a few seconds.
Leuenberger and White. Luke Power off the ball. Nick Smith had hold of him. And you mentioned Alistair, he could be the one. Starting to get a feel of it. Pokes it. Favola coming hard. And Grundy got in the hole.
Well done for Grundy, Heath Grundy, to leave his direct opponent and cut off the lead. It's you always think it's a risky move to leave a champion player like Jonathan Brown, but he backed himself.
That's surprising, actually. Jonathan Brown didn't want to lead. He moved away from the space. It looked like a perfect little short lead for him.
McVeigh dancing around at half-back, caught by Polkinghorne, handball just in time. Richards, he dropped that. He was caught, he dropped it, but didn't have prior opportunity, so got away with it. Hanbury to Moore, to Jetta, throws the handball out. Rich on the spin.
Handball.
Not 15, play on. Up flies Roberts Thompson, knocks it down. Malcheski, Kennedy, there's some poise. He kicks it long. O'Keefe on the bounce. Chases it, Drummond with him, and takes it across.
They had a 2-on-1. Daniel Rich just needed a slick hand pass. He tried to throw it on the boot. They were desperate to kick a goal. They've had their chances, Brisbane. Haven't been able to capitalise. It's a great tackle, isn't it?
Yeah, if the ball's not clear and you don't have prior opportunity, it's not holding the ball. And that has changed a little over the years, but that's the current rule. Riscatelli back. Johnston, Rains. I want to come to the open side, and Selwood is there. He can get and go. The leads from Jonathan Brown and Favola. Brown's the lead that's on it. Grundy's with him. Brown had it, lost it, and then drops. Grundy's been good again. Sends it wide. Jetta, he might want to take on Austin. Keeps it low. Almost a turnover. Rains is down there. Staker fell, but he's up quickly. And they can gather their thoughts. Maguire. Touch play on. Selwood shoots it back. Staker, boundary line. Not a lot to go to. Rich gets away from Hanbury. Takes the mark.
Uses the ball well by foot. 99 times out of 100, Daniel Rich. Only possible space for a lead would be tight on the boundary line. Otherwise, might be tempted just to go wide.
Tries to pinpoint the pass. Jonathan Brown, Roberts Thompson.
There he is.
Banfield, the man of the moment. He is good. And he's got it again on cue. Got tackled by Mumford. Turnover here. Chance for Redden. Had lost it. Favola off the ground. And misses this time.
They can't buy one. They cannot buy one, Brisbane. They've had all the play down this end of the ground.
And what will be a dagger to the heart will be if the transition here from the Sydney Swans.
Loose player too, if they can get one quick kick and a play on. They've got Ryan O'Keefe over the back of the zone.
Nick Smith. O'Keefe, he let up short again. He holds it up. Some poise.
Yeah, they'll chip inside. Well, they should have. Ryan O'Keefe maybe should have used the ball just inside to switch.
Looking for Goods.
And Goods flies. In fact, he stayed down but got a hand to it. Staker, Rich, as you said, uses it well. Clark, well, he used it well, but Clark couldn't make it pay off. McVeigh, Mumford, Jude Bolton, he sends it long. Bradshaw, could he be the man with the dagger? Beaten for it this time by the man wearing his number, Maguire.
Well, that's the Matt Maguire role. Yeah. That was brilliant. He fought for front position. He held Bradshaw out with his strength and then took the diving chest mark in front. Brilliant play, Matt Maguire.
Very good. Said maybe could it be exposed for leg speed, but reads the ball so well.
That's an interesting one.
Brennan, Jonathan Brown trying to lead up. He was manhandled and manhandled to perfection by Grundy. Didn't give the free
Look
away.
at them, they're dancing.
Couple of big balls. Brown picks it up. Short pass, Polkinghorne got there. Third grab.
I wonder if it's getting a bit dewy out there. The players are finding the ball like a bar of soap of late. I just saw Mitch Clark drop an easy one, slip straight through the hands. We've seen Ty Kennelly do it.
Just to answer your question, Jace, yes, it is. Very slippery down here at ground level.
Adam Goods dropped the easy mark at the start of this term as well in the lead.
Polkinghorne thought about giving it off. He hasn't kicked a goal this year. This to pull the margin back to 3 goals. Huge kick from 50. Gives it some sky, bends it back. I wouldn't be reaching for the car keys just yet.
As we were talking about, Jace, they've had all the ball in the forward
coming.
50. They just had to get a goal to get reward for that effort, and it would have been an injustice if Sydney had gone to the other end and scored a goal. It took a long shot on goal, so Jonathan Brown and Grundy working very hard off the ball, and great composure to steady and find the lead. And Polkinghorne, fantastic shot from 50 metres. They needed the goal. It was very much game on here in front of 31,000 people with SCG.
18 points the margin. 10 minutes left. Rowan Smith.
Well, Dwayne, Ted Richards come limping from the ground. They've just restrapped his right ankle. He's just done a couple of run-throughs, and it looks okay.
It's lived up to all expectations, this battle. Brennan slung on the kick. Wide ball, Mumford lurking. It is Dewey, a little slippery. Kennelly gathered it in the end. Goods can't mark. Staker with him. Out of play. Ton of time left. 10 minutes plus some time on. 31,000 in here at the SCG. A little pensive at the moment. Thought they had this one wrapped up. Mumford with the tap down. And that's a ride from McGrath. No free kick there to Kirk. Crowd thought he deserved one, so McVeigh. Close to the boundary, Jude Bolton sees it out. Brett Kirk slowly picks himself up. Barking some instructions, the general. 104 to 86. Mumford beaten for it, but got it down to Kirk. Selwood, Black, little slip is all it took. McVeigh, Kirk wants to handball and set it all up. Jack just overran it slightly and then taps it back in. Now out. Kirk there again. McVeigh beats him to it, his teammate. Ty Kennelly, twist and turn. Jared Brennan chases, kicks around the body towards half forward. Drummond's down there. Might want to come to the open side. Thought about it. Spears along the boundary line.
Great
Jonathan
kick.
Brown with the lead up. Couldn't take the mark. Off hands. Mumford. He sets it up. McVeigh. Malcheski. Bradshaw's on the move. Can't get there. Back of the pack. Daniel Rich. Hanbury. The 2 young guns. Rich gets there. That could be deliberate. Crowd want it. Don't get it.
Oh, the crowd won. It would have been a massive call to call that deliberate. He hadn't taken possession. Daniel Rich toted it along the line, but good defence. Would have been very stiff.
Who says the Sydney crowd's not footy educated? They know their stuff. Austin dragged out. Ball in.
Well, what he does do, though, is he kicks it up the line, doesn't go straight out, and he's under immense pressure. Didn't have too many options, did he?
And Ted Richards back on, Jace.
Rich, a wobbler toward the wing. Little push from Shaw, but it's okay. Ball in. Richards and Riscatelli. 3 goals the margin. High scoring clash. 16 goals, plays 13. Leuenberger, there's that flick back, but again no one there. Kennedy dumps a long ball in the Bradshaw direction. Maguire.
He's been good, hasn't
He's
he?
been outstanding. Strong body to push off Bradshaw on that occasion. The kick was to his advantage, but still, you have to have the strength to dispose of your opponent before you go for the mark.
Getting better as the match goes on, Matt Maguire.
After a year off, Rains puts it up high. Tough one for Malcheski and Redden. Goods was waiting down for a spectacular tackle by Redden, holding the ball. Wins the free kick against Goods, who got him high with the fend off.
It was a great tackle.
It was. He knew he could get hurt doing it, but it didn't worry him. Riscatelli. That's another terrible kick.
Shocking.
Bouncing ball. Moore makes it his. Takes them on. Gets the kick. Goods.
Well, it was where the kick, where the turnover occurred. In the middle
It was
of
the right
corridor.
option. It was the right.
Yeah.
He had a loose player who, if the kick hits him, delivers the ball into the attacking 50, chance of kicking a goal. but it was a dreadful kick that missed the target by a long, long way.
And because you've had run from behind as well, just leaves your defence well and truly open. There's players, Sydney players in the forward 50 by themselves, and that was a very good pass to Adam Goods.
We've talked about some players between these two teams who've got history against each other. Adam Goods, of course, called a protected species by then Brisbane coach Lee Matthews. Didn't like it. Misses this one across the face. That could have been the nail in their coffin. They're still alive.
They're still alive. You'd suggest Sydney Swans need to score a goal to win this. They're just struggling at the moment to get that goal.
Drummond wide and too far. And this could be the nail in the coffin.
One of the best deliverers of the ball you'll see in the Brisbane Lions team, if not in the AFL, but just under the pressure of the situation, just tried to drag the ball around the body.
Jared Moore in the gutter. Wants some options. The behind's not really any good to them. Spears it inboard. Adam Goods played for it well, threw it out. Jack twists around, hacks it towards full forward. Hanbury's down there, flies off hands, Rains, some poise. Ball still alive. Riscatelli, not a lot to go to. Thumps it long. Brennan, Richards, good spot. Brennan, little tap out, back to Richards of all people. Barrel.
Big Buchanan tackle.
Yes, I think he enjoyed it, even though he hurt himself. Banfield wide. They've got 2-on-1 here. The two being the Lions. Selwood takes the mark. Still in this. 20 minutes gone. Buchanan inboard. Riscatelli needs to hit a target, hits Kennelly.
A couple of bad kicks from Michael Riscatelli. His last couple have missed the target. Wasn't much in that. The crowd wanting a 50 against Fed.
Only very slightly late. Nothing wrong with that.
Jude Bolton. Ticked under 6 minutes now. More seconds tick by. He can go short. Wants to go longer. O'Keefe. Another good night at the office for him. He had his brain rattled, but still a 24 possession night. Short to Kirk. Umpires telling players to get on with it a little quicker. Just in this final term, Roberts-Thompson drops it. Banfield comes at him, and he gets them out of trouble for the meantime.
Unusually sloppy from the Sydney Swans on that occasion. Just trying to eat up the minutes on the clock. Only 5.5 minutes to go, but just not good from LRT on that occasion.
The chant of Sydney rings around the SCG. Leuenberger ties up. Drags White down, no free. Buchanan wobbles it to half forward. Race on. Black spinning through a tackle. Rains. Drummond normally uses it well. Runs inside, outside, pokes the pass. Johnston slipped. Kirk attacks the ball. Couldn't take it. Tries to roll it out. Still a chance here. Simon Black. He slips. Travis Johnston. He was grabbed. Played for the free. Didn't get it. Kennedy played for the ball. And surprise, got it. Hanbury sends it wide. Goods. Bouncing ball. Boundary line looming. Staker with him. Takes him on and wins. He can finish it here and now. Runs inside. Rolls it. Low. And a behind. Which is no good to them. 20 points.
Staker just overcommitted there with the tackle. Just had to take the body and take Goods over the line. Goods with a strong body was able to hold his feet and stay in the contest.
Riscatelli.
Paul Roos was looking anxious on the boundary line. Just can't draw a goal over the last 20 minutes.
Saw last night what can happen in close games. Goals can be scored quickly, even in a game where they're not scored all that quickly. Leuenberger.
I think it's beyond the Lions now.
I think so.
I think 4 minutes. They've got to score four goals.
Brown and Kirk attack it. Knocked away. Redden. Done some good things in the last couple of minutes. Favola needs to do something now. Half had it. Runs inside. Handballs over the top. Jonathan Brown gets the snap away, but it's terrible. It'll be a bouncing ball. Polkinghorn. Little tap back. Favola comes in. Makes it a 3-on-3. Tries to manufacture a clever pass. Malcheski, Redden, gathers, shrugs, kicks.
Oh, boy.
And misses.
Gee, they've had some bad misses in the fourth term, haven't they?
They have. Lee Matthews always used to tell us, you're still in the game. Well, you've got the opportunity to, with minutes remaining, with 4 goals and 4 minutes remaining, you're still very much in the game. But that was the last opportunity for the Lions.
You might be right, McVeigh. They can take 30 seconds off the clock here.
Loose player, they can just keep chipping it over the top.
Taking a minute off the clock here is as good as a goal. White.
He can go backwards if he wants to Malcheski, or he can play on over the top.
Game 150 for Marty Mattner. Wobbler towards Goods. Tried to trap it with his foot. Out of play.
He's been a very good pickup from the Adelaide Crows, Marty Mattner. He's been a fantastic running halfback flanker since he's been here in Sydney.
There's 98 of his 150 games with the Adelaide Crows, and they're confident now, the crowd. Sydney chant rings around the SCG. Staker hacks it towards the wing. Brown can't muster a gallop. Ball out of play. Inside 3 minutes now, and it's 19 points the margin.
Well, Jace, this sits Sydney back up on top of the ladder. Where do they sit as far as the contenders go? I mean,
well, they keep passing every test, don't they?
Soft month previously.
Yep.
Brisbane was a very big test for them, and they've got a very big month ahead.
It's interesting. I mean, Brisbane have come crashing back down to earth. They got beaten by Melbourne last week, beaten again now, so there's 2 losses in a row. But Sydney can only keep meeting the challenges that they face. They've done that well. They've won 5 on the trot after pushing St Kilda in round 1, who's the other team right up the top of the table. So you've got to say they are as genuine a chance as anyone at the moment, because they keep rising to every challenge.
Swans have Geelong at Skilled Stadium next week, and then the Bulldogs at Manuka. So essentially a home game that is an away game. And then Fremantle here at the SCG. The next 3, Jetticord to play on. Long bomb and 2 wide for Jude Bolton. Brisbane Lions next week have Fremantle at the Gabba. So a tough task in some respects comparatively. Fremantle at the start of the year, not necessarily expected to be where they are now. Drummond pokes this to the midfield. Simon Black knocked away by Kirk. 2 minutes away from a big victory here at the Swans. Rains, they don't know how long left. Favola comes hard. Grundy has had a good night at the office. Richards leaves it for Kennelly. And essentially they have the Sydney Swans being led by the man they got from the Brisbane Lions, Daniel Bradshaw, who has 6 goals to this point in the game, and maybe time for one more. Goods.
I reckon he'd love to sign off with the last one, Dwayne.
It would be a fitting end. Called to play on. Thumps it long. Big fly by Brennan. Back of the pack. White to give it off to Bradshaw. Jack knocked away. Bradshaw lurking here. Gathers. Kicks it. And can't give it the fairy tale ending.
He's been very good. He would have been extremely nervous going into this game. Had some good form under the belt. 6 goals last week. But it's a big ask to come up against your former team and perform well against quality opposition. And he's been outstanding tonight.
We did talk earlier about he was disappointed with the lack of loyalty from his old teammate Michael Voss, and we know how much he treasures loyalty. Daniel Bradshaw, he decided to miss a final for the Brisbane Lions and be at the birth of his first child, so that shows loyalty to the finest degree. Favola jumps. Leuenberger back of the pack, tries the gather.
It's in the back, surely.
No, not getting it. Malcheski, Roberts Thompson, and Malcheski, and they are a genuine contender, the Sydney Swans. Along the boundary line. Tough ball, coming hard though. Jesse White got Mattner over the top. Caught, didn't really dispose of it legally. O'Keefe, Jack, thought about the boundary line, and I think both teams are quite happy with the siren sounds immediately. 20 points the margin, and the Brisbane Lions players know it's beyond them now. O'Keefe, boundary line still there, and off Kennedy, out of play.
We're going to have some sore players as well. The Sydney Swans, that was one of them there in Ryan O'Keefe and Bolton, very sore. Seavey with an ankle injury.
Fans have stuck around to sing the song here at the SCG, one of the few grounds where the fans get a chance to have a kick on the ground after the game, which they enjoy immensely. A 20-point margin. Both teams coming into this one, 4 wins and 1 loss. The Brisbane Lions will now have back-to-back losses to Melbourne last week and to the Sydney Swans away from home this week. Daniel Hannebery, who had the shoulder ripped out of the socket earlier, will get a chance to celebrate with his teammates in a matter of seconds. Black.
Has it gone? Not yet.
There's the roar. The Sydney Swans are back on top. 5 wins, 1 loss, and the rest of the competition below them. And they're starting to demand a little bit of respect. Paul Roos, in his final year as the coach of this great club, his 8th season, and the fans may be seeing Paul Roos leave this club in as good a condition as it's ever been left by a coach departing. 16-11, 107 for the Brisbane Lions, 13-9, 87. And Daniel Bradshaw, against his old club, was the star of the show, and Rowan Smith has him.
Thanks, Dwayne. Well, Daniel, it's always a little bit difficult playing against your old team, but it was a bit of a fairy tale for you.
Yeah, it was, mate. Obviously, I had a few butterflies coming into the game. Obviously, I've got a lot of mates here, so it's just good to